All right, welcome back to Finding Truth podcast on Unscripted Truth TV. Big episode 22. Logan here with Austin. A slow week in the headlines as far as headlines go. A lot of the same. We're all bored of it. It's like the war, school shootings, plane crashes. We're all bored of it. We need something new. We need something exciting, and we're just not getting it right now. Um, Obviously, I'm joking, but couple of things we'll be touching on to start will be the Daytona 500. That's a big sporting event, and nowadays you can't have a sporting event without Trump there. So
Yep.
we'll talk a bit about that and the winner and the controversy that even I maybe racing has had controversy for a while, but I seem to remember it being more of like a cleaner sport than you'd hear things about football and baseball has the juicing and all that stuff, but nowadays it seems like every race has to drum up some controversy for the headlines and ESPN to roll out. But we'll talk about that. Like I said, slow week in the headlines, but there's a few things. We got our Mr. Mario, Mr. Bergoglio. He's not feeling so hot. He had to stay home from school. It's not. Hopefully, it's not bird flu. Hey, look, man, they like their doves in the Vatican, so hopefully they don't have to take those out. That would be travesty. But I'll touch on that a little bit. Just a cursory overview of it because I didn't go too far into it, but we can do some live check in and take his vitals, if you will. And then I know there's on a more serious note, on the only serious note this week, just as of yesterday and through today, there's some pretty severe flooding in West Virginia, Tennessee, and Kentucky that we can touch on and see where they're at. Maybe they'll update the death toll. They like to mess with those numbers as often as possible, and I know you'll have uh, some stuff you want to tack on to this episode. And so, yeah, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. How's it going, buddy?
It's going it's another pretty interesting day. Been another pretty interesting week. Um yeah, kind of everything this week kind of felt pushed back. They kind of saved all the stories and storylines and everything for kind of like day before Valentine's Day or now. Um and now it's like just kind of been a kind of just like, felt like a slow motion kind of pushback kind of week. It's kind of what I thought it was going to be, but there was enough stories this week. Of course, starting, obviously with the big event tonight, the Daytona 500. Um, Pretty interesting the outcome again to repeat. Um, William Byron. I know he was someone I was kind of thinking might win it last year and then this year too. And when I was looking at it, I felt like this was going to be. I just kind of had the feeling it was because Bubba Wallace won one of the duels, and then Austin Cindric won the other duel, the qualifying races. So I figured, and they said they both started in the top five, and I just kind of felt like qualifying for whatever reason is going to matter in this race. Of course, William Byron started fifth. Um, he was someone I kind of thought could win it. I put $5 though on um, Cindric and Briscoe since they started 1 and 2, and um, both were in position to have a chance to win on even the last lap. Um, so it was very interesting the way the race played out. Of course, William Byron repeating for the second straight year and not even being in 9th or 10th on the last lap and still winning is just amazing. It's amazing how they put this one together. And of course, last year there was the rain delay. Rain equals 24, and it was 2024, and it was a big win for Hendrick. And this year again there was the rain delay, and of course you had William Byron once again winning it. So it was basically, except last year was actually pushed back to Monday. This year was finished up on the Sunday, but it was a very interesting race. The way they kind of ran it out, it was interesting how you had a 10 lap kind of get go, and they had the rain delay, and they had another 10 lap get go again, and there's another rain delay, and they got back to it, and that was the rest of the race. And I just kind of felt like I said, qualifying was going to matter. And if you start in the top 5, like those are my kind of picks to win. I feel like anybody in the top 5 could win. But I just felt like it was going to be someone from the top 5, and I just felt like qualifying was going to matter. I felt like there was going to be a big wreck towards the beginning this year compared to last year, because last year was towards the end, and sometimes it can be towards the end, but a lot of times too, it can be, in the beginning. So it's just like whether or not they're going to save it for the end and the chances of all that and how it's all going to play out. But I just kind of had the feeling like qualifying was going to matter. It's going to be a big wreck towards like the middle or maybe towards the back of the pack start. But no, it was another kind of rain delay race and kind of just slow, methodically playing out with multiple rain delays and then finally getting the race on their way. And I only checked on the race, here and there throughout the day to see how it was going and if it was even going or what was really happening. It was interesting to see. I know Austin Cindric ran in the front like pretty much all day. I don't know if he led the most laps, but every time I looked, he was like leading or in the top 5, and it was interesting to see how both of these 2 big wrecks were in the final laps, the last 5 laps. I know, like you were saying, another kind of like 25 or 5 ritual with that too. It's like in just the fact that these wrecks and how, you get to, however they put it together to get the right car to win. Again, I didn't really see any of the race or any of the wrecks or anything, but it just seemed pretty interesting the way this one unfolded, and the fact William Byron wins for the 2nd straight time, another win for Hendrick, Jeff Gordon. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the vibes I had. I don't know. I feel like Austin Cindric was going to have a good race and possibly win. He was right there, and like I said, won the duel. So something was had like a gut feeling on him. But then I was thinking too, I'm like, well, what are the chances we might get William Byron again too? But yeah, I mean, that crash, I mean, the 60 car going airborne, and when do you really ever see the 60 car? And, we just had the 60th selection. So that's what I really think of when I see that 60 car doing the Shanton bomb there.
Of course, you got Trump doing the pace lap for the Daytona 500. Like I mentioned in the intro here, you can't, good luck. He's going to be the Taylor Swift now. He's going to be at all the sporting events. You're not going to be able to get away from him.
Yep.
Yeah, like you were saying, you got this massive wreck, and within the last 5 laps of the race, like 2 wrecks that completely shake up the outcome of the race. I mean, to put that in perspective, first of all, what is it? 1/50th of the race was decided in the, the whole race was decided in, 1/50th of it. It's very odd. And, these things are heavily betted upon. I mean, NASCAR's always been a big betting sport. I would venture to say that I bet NASCAR might be one of the sports where you'll find the most people that aren't as interested in the sport, but are more interested in the betting aspect of it. I mean to say, like, potentially watching all of the race or whatever. I know there's hardcore fans of every sport. You can be a casual fan of NASCAR too and enjoy watching the races. I'm not saying watching driving can't be fun or anything like that. I just, from my experience, I've seen a lot of people that would bet on NASCAR that had no like skin in the game, if you will. They didn't really care for it for what it is. Or follow the drivers as much as, people, know what LeBron ate 3 weeks ago. But, yeah, it's just when it's such a heavily, there's so much money moving in Vegas, and you have these races that are constantly finishing with controversy. It's almost like they're trying to set a new normal for NASCAR, like to bring it, to usher in this, like we've talked about it several times, these new waves of these new generations, something to make it sleek and more appealing to the new generation. They always love doing this. And we've seen it, like, for example, there's the tightening up of, or not tightening up, more like the loosening up of defense in the NFL, to where, everything's flagged. So it's just, people don't even want to play defense. I'm lending a little bit too much credence to it. I'm playing devil's advocate here as if it's not scripted, but it gives you the reason for why, offenses can go crazy. And that's what people want to see. They want to see the big catch. They want to see the big touchdowns, the big runs. They don't really care about the Josh Sweaty sacks.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So this, keep that in perspective. You want to see the big play in football. You want to see the big comeback in basketball where you're just, 6 threes in a row type of stuff. These are the things people want to see. Well, what do you want to see in NASCAR? Even as a casual fan, what is the most exciting thing you could see? Other than maybe, the most exciting thing I would imagine would be a crash, but then, second to potentially like a big slingshot type comeback finish, at the end. Other than that, really, it's a crash that would serve that gladiatorial bloodlust that the American people have for sports. They want to see something crazy happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it's just like with the old cars, like the Gen 4 cars, everything changing, all because Dale Earnhardt died. So, this crash and we have to change everything and stuff. So and like, who knows? Like I said, there hasn't been anybody that's died since, him. And it's amazing how, like, with all these rituals, it's like I said, these, back to back, the 24, Jeff Gordon, Hendrick Motorsports, of course, Chevy, Chevrolet, it's got the ritual numbers. It's like, with when Earnhardt died and then Adam Petty died and Kenny Irwin Jr., it's always the Chevy. So here it is again.
Did he take the same number? Did his dad race 88? I just accidentally looked up Junior.
Earnhardt was 3.
Oh, okay. I was trying to equate something that might not be there then. Never mind.
Yeah, Junior used to be 8 actually, and then he changed to 88 when he went to Hendrick.
Yeah, 2001 was a year of change, to be sure.
Yep.
And yeah, you make a great point too. I guess that would take some more scientific analysis on my part as far as finding out. I'm sure it's indexed somewhere, the amounts of crash. I'm sure that's something that is kept track of because it's so important to the finishings of races and stuff like that. But I'd be curious to see, before the changing of the, the standard of cars and things like that, how many crashes there were, and if there's if there's signs that potentially lead to these new fangled cars being more susceptible and more flamboyant, if you will, in their crashes because they had, because of the different aerodynamics of the builds. Because they're certainly different looking than cars used to be, even just like in the late 90s, early 2000s. And what were they? Camaros and now, well, they're still Camaros now, actually, but it's
yeah, it used to be like 94. Previous was the Lamina, and it was after the Chevy Lamina, it was the Monte Carlo.
Yeah, Luminas,
after 95.
Yeah.
The Grand Prix, the Dodge Intrepid, the Ford Thunderbird, the Ford Taurus. Those are the days.
It's like you see a Taurus on the racetrack and you're like, I want a Ford Taurus. You go to the dealership. It's like, what the fuck is this? That's not what I thought I was getting. This thing is butt ass ugly. What the hell? I don't know how they sold so many Ford Tauruses to the people. Oh my gosh. Talk about an absolute eyesore. An absolute boat, too. Those things are massive. Anyway, that's just my personal opinion on those. But yeah, the stock car a lot different than the car they sell you to the people. But yeah, like I said, that would be interesting to see, you know, prior to these changes, how many crashes were happening, and almost makes you think that with the buildup of how they're doing it, that it potentially poises them to have another kind of draw in moment, because it's like, other than the big series races like the Daytona 500 and like the, you know, the end of whatever cup where they're, you know, they're actually giving, you know, out a championship, you don't, you know, a team like qualifying for the playoffs in the NBA will take a top billing on ESPN over that. You know what I mean? You know how they like to tier it out. So potentially, you mentioned Dale Earnhardt. I know we've gotten we've gotten a few super controversial stories like the Tony Stewart thing.
Yep.
But other than that, we might be geared up for another death in NASCAR. I could see that being a drawback to the sport. I know that sounds terrible, but that's how shit works, man. That's just literally how stuff works. It's unfortunate, but it is.
Yeah, and I mean it's designed to be that way too. I mean the new cars aren't as safe as they tell you. I mean, um, the old cars, the Gen 4 cars, were honestly safer and easier on the track and to drive and stuff. I mean, with these new cars, I mean, look at the Kurt Busch, the accident that retired Kurt Busch. I mean, that didn't look like anything. I mean, in that, I mean, who knows if he really got hurt from that, or if he's acting, or did that, you know, did that wreck really end his career there? But I mean, a lot of these people now in these wrecks and stuff, people getting hurt, people getting injured because of the way the cars are designed, or they're just not as safe as they used to be. Um, so things have definitely declined, and then because of that, they could take advantage of that and then create a crash or situation where someone does die or get hurt or something. Um, and things are always changing. I mean, like they're always, every year they update the cars change. Uh, things are always on the verge of the new look or whatever they're going to be, whatever they're going to do. So they have all these eras. I think they're in like the Gen
Yep.
7 or Gen 7 or whatever era now. So, or Gen 8 or Gen 9. But yeah, I mean, definitely nothing compared to what the Gen 4 cars were. And the Gen 4 cars were so um, good like I said, on the track. They're better on the track. They were better when it came to just like racing and just even the sound of the cars, the way the cars drafted, the way the cars looked. I mean, they were just so much better back in the 90s, or like if you went like 2002 previous was like the prime of the cars. I mean, um, especially like the competitiveness and like how close it was, and the races didn't look as fake and as scripted and as rigged as they do today. I mean, um, and again, I mean, people think these crashes and stuff are real, but I mean, you go back and you look at all these. I mean, like I said, it's just how they set it up. It's amazing to get the 24 car to go back to back. I mean, you're in ninth or 10th on the last lap, and they have to cause this wreck and make sure he squeaks through to do it again. So it's amazing how they set this up and do it and have this all ready to go.
Yep. And to your point, you know, as far as scripting goes, this might, I mean, it's hard for us to maybe, you know, of all the things, you know, you got DeMar Hamlin absolutely phoning in his performance, but everybody believed it, you know, oh, I'm totally fine. uh, and then, you know, so you have these different like scripted events that happen in sports, and one could argue that to script an actual crash, it's like, how do you script the ending of that? How do you know that the person's actually going to be okay? It's like, you might go for, even if it's rehearsed, you know, but then go look at Hollywood. go look at professional stuntmen. These people, they know how to do these things. They know how to set these crashes up to do. And who do you have doing it? Professional drivers that understand their corners of their car. They understand the drafts of their car. You know, you got this 43 car just giving. I don't know if he's the one that hit him. I doubt it. This actually looks like him landing because he got up there. This car got up there.
Yeah.
I saw a picture. He was way up there.
Oh, he's doing the Shah Khan bomb. That's for sure.
I would say he was lucky that he didn't like really flip, like, because it definitely looked like he could have. But besides that, you really could you really got to understand that these things are scriptable. High speed crashes, these things are scriptable, and I don't think they'd be adverse to banging up their pawns. You know, at the end of the day, these people would be, you know, just pins on the board for them. It's not like these drivers are the kingpins of the industry behind it. The major sports and these racing teams. So, you know, my point being is they're more expendable, you know. A Ryan Preece, it's like this, think of it this way. Who talks about Ryan Preece? I haven't seen his name before. So this could very well be a way to get Ryan Preece on the map or his team. This could be, you know, something that as negative as it looks, this is PR for not only him as a racer, but his team. Think of it this way. I know this is a weird correlation, but think about the whole the Mark Andrews. You know, who the hell? It's like no one cares about. You got Lamar Jackson. You got much better players on that team, but who was the most talked about player at the end of the what was it, the conference round or whatever, when they blew it, the 2-point conversion or whatever, when he dropped it? You know, it's Mark Andrews. So it's just, you know, you take something that's wholly negative, you know, if you're a fan of the sport and the game, and especially if you're a Baltimore fan, but what it's going to do is it's total PR for him. It's total PR for his brand. And then you're going to have so many people defend him as well. I'm sure you're going to have so many people that are like, I'm so glad Ryan Preece is okay. Whereas they would have never said Ryan Preece for the rest of their lives if today didn't happen. So this is how they like to shuffle their players around and get certain people in the forefront. You have, you know, you usually have all the old standbys represented, and I think I had it up before.
Yeah, and it's like the 60 car. When do you ever see the 60 car? Like, no one ever drives a 60 car. Like, it's like just the number you never see, or driver. No one ever picks that number. So got to get that 60 on there.
Yeah. And of course, you get the 60 right after like you said, the 60th election, and you got Trump out there doing the pace car. I can't assume that is a coincidence. That's for sure. I talked to you yesterday about, we were having a little back and forth about the race today, giving our thoughts and opinions. I had a little dark horse idea about this Van Gisbergen fellow, mainly because he drives the 88 car. And this is before, I might have put some money on it. I don't have a betting app available, right? I don't have, you know, that set up, but I would have been, you know, probably, if I did, I probably would have ended up putting, you know, doubling up my bet had I known that Trump was going to do the pace car yesterday. Because I was doing a preliminary, you know, just for a long shot. And this guy was an interesting, along with the Pope being sick in the headlines and not doing the Sunday blessing. I was saying that potentially, you know, he might be home watching his NASCAR ritual take place since he doesn't have to go to school or church. But he had some interesting numbers for him. Still, oddly enough, he finished 33, which is funny enough for highlighting him, and then for him to finish 33rd. That's pretty interesting in my opinion. And then
Yeah, because he won the first race of his career was in 2023, and that was the first race he ever ran. He won his first race. That's the only race he's ever won. It was his first race. So he just jumps in the car and wins. But yeah, I thought it was a good point you brought up yesterday because I thought, yeah, maybe it's time for him to get his second win. He hasn't won in 2 years, so when's the number 2 coming?
So let's look here. So like I was saying, you got all the major names represented still pretty well. Blaney in the top 10. I know Briscoe, he was he number 1 at qualify? But
Yeah,
either
him
way.
and Hendrick were 1 and 2.
Okay, yeah. Cindric in the
Both had a
top
shot to
10.
win on the last lap too.
You even get Jimmy in there. You got Jimmy.
Yeah.
One last ride, Jimmy. We need you for one last ride. I mean, Jimmy Johnson, just Jimmys and Johnsons are just so rampant in all sports. This is just a tangent a little bit. It's just, man, there's so many Jimmys and Johnsons. It's just like, are we making jokes? I don't know. I feel like we might be making some jokes, but all right.
So many J's and J's.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, you look at this top 10, it's like almost like to be expected, the names, maybe not the order, but the names for sure. And outside of it, I had another little dark horse idea for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. just because he drives the number 47.
Yeah.
And I think there was a couple other things I mentioned about him, like his age and something else to do. I was really honed in on the Pope in bed. Pope, you needed to, I mean, we'll get into that anyway. The Pope, being bedridden the day before, being announced so heavily. But I think what I should have probably honed in on was the Trump appearance, and who knows what this was truly paying homage to. For all I know, this might be just straight up either Henrik, which a lot of people need to understand that we can look up players and we can look up coaches even, and we can look up, but a lot of these times these things go right to the owners. And I'm not saying they're going to have like gematria numbers in their name, but they'll, regardless of the gematria. And I don't like saying that because the gematria is an intense factor, but these people are getting it regardless. These people, these owners and the real people behind these things, they're getting their names out there. They're getting, to them, it's win or lose, their brand being put forward is that's the cake for them. They don't really, I don't think that there's any stake in whether it's a win or a loss. These people are playing with house money. It's like monopoly money to them.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here.
Well, those were Jeff Gordon's last exact words last year. We couldn't have scripted it any better. Well, yeah, you could. You could do 2 in a row. That's how you can do it better.
Boom. Yeah, good.
You can do it again.
Jeffrey
must be so proud. 2 in a row.
Was it another E? No. Okay. Jeffrey Michael Gordon. No, let's just try without the Michael. Oops. Then you have Willie Boy. Oh, well, William equals 47, winning on the 47th day of the year. That's worth noting.
Oh, yeah.
$153. That's oh, no, that's not Set Ages. What am I thinking?
You know, it's interesting too. William, obviously William and Nirvana are an exact foresight for match, but so is Ukraine, and that was something too that was talked about this week too. With
Oh, it's been heavy in the news. Oh,
yeah,
snap. Oh, well, there you go. Maybe that was the smoking gun for this is the
and Kurt
whole
Cobain's birthday is coming up on 2/20. 4 more days, about to be 3.
full name? No, it was just Cobain, right? Wait, what was the
Nirvana.
Oh, Nirvana, that's what it is. Yeah, same with like is it maybe not full force cipher? Close. Anyway. Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, no, you're completely right. Ukraine's been heavy in the headlines, especially with like it's so crazy how they do politics. It's like the snub, like Zelensky's being snubbed because he's not going to the peace talks or whatever. And then also you have UK being like, I don't think it's smart that we allow US to go there and do these negotiations without us there. I don't say are as in I think of myself involved with US politics. I could care less. But I just think the headlines, the narratives, like it's a soap opera. It's just so funny how they frame it. It's just like, hey, bro, I don't think it's quite right. You're going there and talking without us there to kind of mediate and give our opinions, our 2 cents there, bruv. But yeah, it should be interesting. Of course, Putin's heavy in the news, and so you got the 4 white heads of the Hydra all active. You got Zelensky, Putin, Netanyahu, and Trump all just keeping the headlines ripe with this ongoing played out garbage. So right now you have Trump. What this all is, it's a grand design because you got to understand we're still what are we 2 weeks into his presidency? This is all legitimization. That's all this is. All of this is fake legitimization. They're saying, "Oh, no, he is what he promised to be. He was going to be." And trust me, this pendulum will swing. For all we know, he might be the first president that gets sent to jail as a president. They'll do something they love their first and their stupid things. So this is all work to say, "Oh, nope, he promised, all that tough talk and all that stupid crap he was talking about, how he would put an end to these wars or, one way or another." Well, he's following through. If you could say you can hate him, but one thing about him, brother, is he followed through on what he says, man. He's a man of his word. And he's God. He's a man of God. He's God. Anyway, sorry. But
He eats as much McDonald's as me, bro.
A man who eats a Big Mac just like me can't be bad. With that creamy sauce in between the third patty and just that.
He's as orange as the Home Depot car.
Oh, man. So, yeah, this is all just fake legitimization for just getting their foot in the door. I'm not saying that the whole presidency will be legitimizing everything he said and did. For all I know, maybe it will be, as much as they, tore him down. Not to say that in reality they were tearing him down, but they were using this like war on Trump, his first term, where the Democrats still had, I think it wasn't a sweep, remember? I think they had the House or the Senate, one of them or something like that. And they used that power to stop him at every turn, you know what I mean? And they were like hounding him and always on him and never letting him do what he wanted to do as a president, stopping all his bills. And well, now he doesn't have that. And so you're going to see this. I mean, first of all, there's just so much to talk about with that crap. It's all a soap opera and it's so dumb that I don't even really want to talk about it other than pointing out to an audience of hopefully people listening and watching about how scripted and ridiculous it all is. And when you take yourself out, like I say this a lot, but I do want to repeat myself on these, when you can take a step back from your initial bias of a situation. Take yourself out of it just real quick before you can jump right back in if you're proven right and you can see these things from just one step back. Then go ahead, jump back into it. But when you're able to take a step back and see things and stop saying my Trump, my Republican Party, my this and that, and you're just able to look at these things, look at politics right now. It is an absolute shit show. It's an absolute show. It's an absolute program. This cannot be real. If it's almost like my flush theory, where I don't think any average person understands even how 50 feet in front of their house where their poop goes. I don't think they even understand 10 feet down their drain where their poop goes, let alone, how, it's something we take for granted is what I'm trying to say. We all just flush the toilet indiscriminately. We don't even understand the processes of what that means to anything, the plumbing, anything. We just do it. Well, I think a lot of people just follow their party. And if they were to take a step back and see how ridiculous it's getting, how these figureheads just talk and talk and talk and yap and yap and yap, and they're just able to sway you on things that you would either not care about otherwise or are literally would be against, but because they put this veneer on it, you see it through your rose-colored glasses and you see something that you think you like through their magic. It is magic. It's talking and spelling and psychology. They use that against you. That's why it's called programming. And it's gotten so ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, that's like you said. That's why you got to have Trump at the Super Bowl. You got to have him a week later at the Daytona 500. I mean, and it's like I just said. I mean, there's no coincidence that William, Nirvana, and Ukraine all have the same exact four-cipher match, and that's what you have this week. I mean, you got William Byron winning it. You got Kurt Cobain's birthday coming up on 2/20, and just about to be 3 days away, and then you have like I said, all the Ukraine stuff right now. So yeah, I mean, this was perfectly scripted, 100%. And again, the importance of everything they show you. I mean, and will we get one of these kind of like a Damar Hamlin, I guess, moment for NASCAR? Like someone really get hurt and
Maybe a Denny Hamlin moment.
yeah. Yeah, Denny Hamlin. Yeah, he almost won tonight too. He was in the mix, but yeah, we really got a lot coming here in this next, really to end February, I guess. I mean, you got Kurt's birthday's coming up. Then you have, of course, it's the shortest month of the year. Yeah, Sean O'Hara's birthday's coming up too on the 25th. He was born on 2/25. So all these dead people, all these rituals going on. It's amazing how they put this all together.
Okay, so it's the end of Aquarius and the start of Pisces is February. Pisces,
Yep.
huh? That's like the traditionally, it's the like death and rebirth. It's the symbol associated with Jesus. And interesting. Well, what was? Yeah. So Cobain was a Pisces. See, that would have been something to know. I didn't know that. Interesting, because he definitely was a martyr, if you will, for his industry. So that's funny. And they generally say the end of Aquarius. I mean, they generally talk about these things in terms of ages when it comes to astrology. I'm not too heavy into this astrology or anything. I just have some like cursory knowledge of it. I'm an Aquarius, by the way. But they say that the end of Aquarius, that's like it's like the end of an age. It's like the end of an era. And what does Trump say he's ushering in? The golden age, which if you're ushering in a golden age, it's the end of the last one. So now that might, thinking of it in terms of astrology, which these people do use astrology, that's probably has a lot to do with this whole golden age and everything like that. Is Aquarius, the end of Aquarius is the end of an age in astrology and symbolically.
Yeah, they're definitely. I mean, there's so much going on right now. They're definitely. It's definitely all a big ritual pointing to something else. I mean, and the race tonight too was so interesting. How, um, again, you do get the repeat winner. And this is going to be interesting too to see, of course, who wins the championship this year at the end of the year as well. I'm sure Byron's going to be in the mix. He might end up winning the championship this year. We'll see how it plays out. And what the storylines are going to be. I mean, there's always so much that hinges off of, a Daytona 500 or something like that. And I feel like this is going to be one of these years where in the next like couple months, you're really going to start to see a lot of big things start to happen. I mean, because like we talked about, I mean, you got WrestleMania coming up on the April 19th or whatever too. So just how perfectly scripted everything is this year with dates and when things are, and how they have everything lining up. I mean, it's very interesting right now, and how all these stories kind of come together. I mean, again, it's like you said, Trump is the big figurehead in all this, and um, Trump, I think he was at like the 2000. I don't know if he was at the Daytona 500 last year. I don't think he was, but he might have been. I know he was at the Daytona 500 like back in 2017, but I mean, yeah, the guy's been in wrestling. The guy's always there. He's the Super Bowl. He's everywhere. So you can't escape Trump, and that's what they're telling you and they're showing you here too. I mean, it's going to be all just Trump. I mean, and it all goes hand in hand to what I was saying before too. How um, the Pope Francis too is supposed to be the last pope, and according to prophecy. So and like I always say, is there going to be another president after Trump? I mean, it just seems like it's nothing but Trump, and then it's like that's what I think this race tonight symbolizes. I mean, Trump being there, and Byron going back to back, and all the things going on. That maybe Trump is going to be our last president. Maybe there won't be another selection the next few years if they change the laws or something happens or whatever. I mean, it just seems like everything's pointing to something coming to a head, or we're coming to this massive change or something. And like I said, it could be this year. I mean, who knows? The next restrictor plate racer could be, there might get a death or something. I mean, there could be someone might actually die. I mean, because I didn't even see any of the stuff tonight and how bad the wrecks were and the crashes, and I don't think anybody got hurt or anything. But it's always something to keep in mind.
Absolutely. And interestingly enough, I've thought, they love using words against us. They love using absolute sentences that you take as absolute, but really what they're doing is just like it's very like kid like, honestly, because not only did I do it when I was a kid, my daughter does it, and my little girl, she knows how to use words to kind of go around. Maybe, if they want something, they can frame a sentence. It's like omission, right? They omit certain things about it to get what they want, type of deal. Well, have you taken that sentence, that idea that this will be the last president, as the new leader will be called something else? The
Absolutely.
the prime minister of America, or think about the absorbing of other countries. Generally, when you do that, it could be what am I going for here? Think of like United Nations. They could go towards something like that, which when you think about the science fiction movies, that's generally what happens with the futuristic movies. It becomes a Senate, like all the countries working, it's like a conglomerated world, and all the countries are working together at the top. Well, I mean, are the Canadian people, if don't put it past this happening. I could see Canada being absorbed into the United States willingly. But does that mean that their prime minister is just going to want nothing to say with their land? No. So they're not going to go nowhere. They're going to have something where they're at the top, they're melded together. Well, what if it's two leaders and you're not called presidents anymore? Because president does imply, the solo dolo, almost like an emperor. You don't have multiple presidents of anything. That's one thing. So that could be the the wordplay there is this will be the last president, because we'll still have elections coming up after this. It just will be you're voting for. What if we go back to territories after this too? Because if you think about it,
Yep.
Canada does provinces. How are you going to mix these? I mean, you're going to take. It's going to be such a weird melding, because it's also specific how they mapped out the United States state lines and everything. It might not make sense to on Earth, like when you're on the land, the borders make no sense. But geographically, mapping wise, it does make somewhat of a sense as far as making what used to be 4 major territories, which was ungodly amounts of land compared to, like, take the UK for instance. You could fit the UK into any territory basically, and just a whole other country. Just the US is so big. Well, Canada, they do that still. Their provinces are massive, and they kind of already do what I'm talking about. Yeah, they have a prime minister, but he, it's similar to presidential, except for there's not a bunch of governors. There is, but it's more like lords, and they have basically presidents of the territories and then a prime minister. So the local leadership has a lot more population and land to cover, and that's not just going to meld perfectly into the United States. So there could be a switch up one way or the other. Either we get bigger. I would say we get bigger, because that's just where I see things going as far as them. And by bigger, I mean our territories get bigger, and there's already several states trying to abolish. I used to live in Oregon, and for the last 5, probably longer than that, but on my radar, Idaho has been trying to basically buy Oregon. They've been trying to just buy the east part of Oregon. And last I've saw updates on it, it was looking like it was a potential success very soon, that Idaho is going to take a big chunk out of Oregon and become more Idaho. And the Oregonians want it. They want to become Idahoans because Oregon sucks so bad. I don't think the land certainly doesn't suck. It's just you have Portland bureaucrats doling out the rules for people all the way in Eastern Oregon that it has zero. It's like they're paying art taxes in Bend, and they're just like, what the hell? What art? What are you talking about? So they're paying TriMet taxes, and they have like one bus line. So and that's not the main deal. The main deal is zoning and things of that nature. Oregon is insane with that, and honestly, so is Washington. But there's pockets in both states where you can avoid it, but not for long. All these things are going to be statewide. But anyway, back to my point. I could see it becoming more territorial, and we might Pacific Northwest might get absorbed into they'll just it'll make enough sense if it were to happen. But then there's also, I still think, personally, I think South America is conglomerate city as well. And if you think about the tourist industry, I guarantee you the massive, it would be a large percentage of people that visit South America as tourists, are from one of the, North America already. And so absorbing that, it would kind of be like, it would be the best of all three worlds, really. And honestly, it's something that should exist naturally. Naturally, if we didn't have leaders that we are beholden to that don't give a crap about us and care about us, this should be something that humans probably do on a cycle. When it becomes winter, we go down to the South America.
Yep.
And we do migratory loops and stuff of that nature and work together in those aspects. That might be another episode where we go more in depth with that. That'd be a fun episode. But I could see them feeding us that idea, but instead they still own it and everything, but it becomes part of America. And mainly what I'm saying is you won't need a passport if you're already American type of deal, same as Canada. Once this happens, Canadians won't need a passport to come in, and neither will Mexican or, Mexicans initially. And it might not be all of South America. Maybe it'll just be Mexico. But anyway, I think you get the point I'm aiming at. I do see a conglomerate, Neapolitan mix here, where you get little chocolate ice cream and vanilla all mixed in there. And before it's all said and done, I do see that being a possibility, because one thing that hasn't happened in our world, and since I've been alive, is a major shakeup in the West. There's been lots of major shakeups in the East, and they're still ongoing, but not in the West, really. And I think we're due for like a big shock to the system in order to usher in really usher in 15-minute cities. Is it really going to be the U.S. that doesn't export anything, that is insane amounts of debt? Where are we going to build our 15-minute cities at? What are we going to build our little pocket cities with? What money? Who's going to come and do it? Well, potentially, if we pool all of our resources and, that becomes more of a reality for our controllers. And I'm not saying I'm happy about this. I'm just saying narrative wise, I could see that happening.
Yeah, and you bring up a perfect point, because what's Trump doing right now? He's changed the name of everything right now, right? Changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico. I mean,
Gulf of America.
Yeah, Gulf of America. So what's that? There you go. I mean, the combining forces. It's all the one world government, the one world land, the one world religion, the one world currency. This everything being one, and it's all just going to be America. I mean, you just see it happening, and this is. I mean, the pieces of the puzzle are already there.
Mm-hmm.
They're already putting them in place. I mean, because it's so stupid. It's just like, okay, your administration, how are we going to make the country better? We're going to change the name of the Gulf. It's like, you got to think about why would you do that? It sounds so stupid, but then you have to really think about it. Yeah, it is extremely stupid. It's not going to do anything, but they're also telling you that they're, putting the finishing touches on what they've been working on all this time, and that's just what it is. I mean, it's in your face. That's why they got to come out and say it. That's why they got to come out and do things like that. It's going to be the Gulf of America, change of the Gulf of America. It's like you said, there hasn't been any changes in the West. And you brought up another good point too, yesterday as well. Of course, too. I mean, it's like we're saying with Daytona 500 and these crashes and stuff too. And what else have we been getting on these crashes? At least plane crashes. You talk about how changing travel. And then, I mean, it's perfect. I mean, because there's so many car crashes and NASCAR crashes, and so you have the change of, people aren't going to be driving cars that look like NASCARs. They're going to be, what our transportation has been the same our whole life. It hasn't changed. It's been the same for 100 plus years. Planes and cars and trains and stuff, and yeah, I mean, we're overdue. I mean, things can't stay stagnant for too long. I mean, we're on the verge of great change, and who knows? I mean, there might be, who knows? I mean, I thought, like, we always say that there's going to be flying cars by now. We're going to live in the flying car age, and look where we ended up. We ended up in the Tesla age with Big Muskie driving around the Daytona 500 in the Tesla NASCAR.
I was going to ask you, I didn't want to cut you off or anything. You're making such good points. How long do you think before we get a Tesla car in NASCAR?
Yeah, that's a great point.
At least maybe a SpaceX car that drives a Chevy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe dress it up. It's going to be like the Tesla Grand Prix or something like that. Just make it look like the old Gen 4 car. Make it be a Tesla.
Cybertruck.
Yeah, yeah, but it has to go 500 miles though. So they have to change the. They have
Well,
to
I
up
mean,
the
they
battery.
are kit cars. I mean, it's not like even the shells of these so-called Camaros and Camrys and stuff are even what we consider a consumer, the same as our consumer versions. So I could see them, sticking coming up with their own particular look as long as it, fits the standards for the engine inside of it. I don't know if you can achieve that. Here's one thing though. Well, I say I don't know if you could achieve that. I do know that they can achieve that. In fact, we could already be doing this with water. But besides that, I know that they can achieve that high powered, uh, battery driven vehicle. Those things have existed for quite some time now already. Supercars. So I could see maybe that is a shakeup in the game. And because I'm telling you, one thing I wanted to highlight with this episode is I've been telling I mean, you could say that duh, Elon Musk and Tesla and all these things are taking over, but I'm talking about it's one thing that it's every fifth car you see on the highway nowadays. And it's a whole nother that it's going to be Tesla brand kitchen products. It's going to be, Maytag, your Tesla fridge. It's going to be your Boeing Airbuses. Yeah, I say Airbuses. That's what they call their planes. I mean, like a bus that hovers. Maybe that's interesting too. If that was all, if that calling them Airbuses was always a joke to a nod to a future hovering bus or something like, or magnetic bus, because those things already pretty much exist. I'm not saying we'll innovate the newest or best thing, but there will be a overhaul in branding of the infrastructure of America. There will be. It's who nobody cares about Amtrak or the fate of Amtrak. They will not bat an eye when they're gone and it's Tesla train lines. They won't bat an eye when you know Freightliner is Tesla liner or Boeing liner. You know what I mean? These things are inevitable. They are truly inevitable. I'm not and they might not be branded with the conglomerate name, but what we're seeing right now, like think of it as like Johnson and Johnson. It's they have a million products. They're not Johnson and Johnson labeled, but they have a million products through different sub names. Like you'll have Boeing own the shipping industry and the freight industry and the whatever that industry, and it'll be branded with all these, Xuron 6, your fastest shipping guarantee. They have these ridiculous names. That's just how these things work. And it might not, Tesla, I would say the ego there, I think would keep Tesla being, maybe they have different sub names of Tesla that appear in our, here. And I can't imagine they just stick with Tesla. They're going to absorb other things and other things will be rebranded in certain ways. So I'm excited to see the new mock names that they'll give us. Cause I mean, anybody that it's still hilarious to me that we just, so many people drive around just like pissing, shitting and spitting all over Nikola Tesla in their like fake versions of his name, like not even realizing the mockery behind it. It's so funny to me.
Absolutely. I mean, you bring up a great point too. Like, will we see it in NASCAR? I mean, I definitely think that we might definitely see it sooner than later. I mean, I'm surprised. They put Toyota in there and not Honda too. And I thought Honda would have been in there, not Toyota. Honda's more sporty and better motors, but and that being more their style of racing and stuff. But maybe there will be maybe they're get rid of Chevy next, and maybe it'll just be Ford, Toyota, and Honda and Tesla or something like that. I mean, it's gonna be real interesting where they go with things. In the next, I'd say 5 years. I mean, I expect 5 years, whether we own nothing and we're happy or not, wherever we are by 2030, whatever has happened, I do expect that we will be living in definitely a different world by then. I mean, it's kind of hard to imagine 10 years after COVID, nothing's been the same since COVID. So it'll be 10 years of the great falling away. So I think there's going to be a lot of, I mean, it's like you said, I mean, there's Teslas everywhere already. I mean, by then it's going to be what? I mean, it's going to be every car pretty much. You might see an old Corolla or Civic or something, and plus you got to think everything in the next 5 years too is going to start to get so outdated. I mean, you'd be looking for, a 2010 model. Oh, that was 20 years ago. It's like, man, that was 20 years ago. It's like, felt like it was just 2010. It's like, yeah, it's gonna get real. I mean, they have so many things coming our way. It's unbelievable how they put it together. But yeah, I think that's what the whole thing with tonight was with this back-to-back wins for Byron, especially with the big William in there.
Yeah, that's a great point, the William. Yeah, to your point as well, with, we talk about infrastructure. One of the only things that I think that America's gloating about is that they're going to be at the forefront of charging stations. And please, anybody who lives in towns that these places are already going in, because I'm not talking about the parking lots that have them some places, and these are all, these all play into what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about gas stations that are charging stations with no gas. Like you were saying, you're going to be looking for cars, and you're going to have to factor in the idea that the only gas station's 20 miles away or like 10 miles away. It's like they're going to make it annoying to own the things that they don't want you to have, like they always do. That's basically, that's your freedom. That's the illusion of your freedom. Oh, you can have your diesel truck, but the only diesel service station is, 20 miles down the road. So make sure you always got a quarter tank before you go to get gas. It's they push us out in all those arenas. So I think that was a great point you made.
Yeah, I don't know how many laps Byron led either in the race. I don't know how many.
I
don't know the stats. I didn't see the stats really, so it'll be interesting to look at.
I'm not sure how to look at stats of the. I know I've seen it before, like laps or in first or whatever, but I didn't see it on this particular one. Oh, here we go. Lead. Oh, this is 2024. Oh, they don't even have the stats for today yet. Oh, come on, Fox.
Come on, you had 2 rain delays to get your shit together.
Oh, if this is for today, then it looks like he led almost the entire race.
Yeah, it's only a 200 lap race. So maybe that's
yeah.
total of the Daytona 500 of all his races. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's probably last year. I'm tripping. I say there's only 200 laps. Well, it looks like they're not quite updated. Maybe NASCAR has it, but Yeah, sure, I agree. Whatever. I just signed my son's soul away by clicking that, but whatever. I gotta know. Here we go. He only led 10 laps.
There we go.
Blaney and your boy Austin was
He was crushing.
the front
I think he
runner
led
for,
I think he led the most.
yeah, 59 laps too, not an
Yep.
arbitrary number.
Yeah, 59. There it is.
A lot of 59 painted on that whole Pope thing that happened, got announced the day before this too.
Yep. This had Super Bowl 59, and most
Mhm.
led here is 59.
Amazing how they do it. You look at I mean, they all pitted. It almost looks like oh man, it almost looks like it's like scripted. You know what I mean? They all pit at lap 39. All these major front runners, including the first, second, fourth, fifth, sixth. And I understand that there's a reason why. I get that to the casual viewer, it would make sense that one person pits. You don't, it's a risky thing to not refuel and get new tires for what could be a showdown. I get that aspect of it, and I'm not a huge NASCAR fan. I can totally get that, but it's the same thing as many 2-point conversions are happen in the NFL, or kicks that make no sense, or not kicking that makes no sense. It's just one of those things that I can chalk up to, because this is like a coaching call. You know what I mean? It's not the driver making these calls. So it's something where these pit stops, I never really thought about it all that much, but these pit stops could be, crucial I mean, could be, I say could be. I imagine that they are crucial in rigging a race, is getting all these, because think of all the moving parts you have at that point. Oh, somebody dropped. Look. I mean, what I always thought was funny is like the major part of the team is just mechanics.
Yeah.
Just people that are like fast mechanics are like, they're more relied upon for physical activity than like the driver for the most part. Um, but yeah, oh, what a drop by, and I think they're numbered, aren't they? Yeah, the mechanics, the pit crew, they have numbered jerseys, don't they? Or am I tripping?
They might have some kind of number
Or their name
on
or
them or
something.
something, but
But I just think it's so, there's so much, there's only so much that you can be like scrutinized when it comes to the race. Obviously there's the minute details in a race, but one of the most exciting parts of any race is the pit stops, in my opinion. That you see mistakes happen in a pit stop, and it's just like, it wasn't the driver who lost the it was Chris. It was Chris, no last name, Chris, the mechanic. That bastard. He forgot a lug nut. He did something, he still had it on reverse when he tried to tighten up the lug nut, so it cost him, that 0.8 split, and boom, went from first to 18th because of damn
yeah,
Chris.
drop the jack too early, or too many guys over the wall, or
I've seen that
guy
too.
left the
I think
gas.
it's always
Yeah,
hilarious.
guy left the gas can in the thing and drives away with it, gets a penalty. I mean, there's so many ways they can screw you and rig you to get the outcome they want. But this one, they just did it with the wrecks.
Mhm.
So it'd be real interesting to go back and see what these wrecks even look like, because I didn't even see them. So I
Yeah,
have to
let's see if
definitely.
I can. It's a good point. Because I didn't see it in real time either. I saw. Okay, here we go. Oh, so it was 43, the 43 car. That was the 43 car, interestingly enough. Was it? Or am I tripping? Hold on. Let's go back. Okay, there's that car crashing. Yeah, the 43 car, boom, right there. I mean, it looks like the other car slammed into him and he slammed into the 43, but the 43 is the one that gave him the lift to make the crazy crash. And you got NASCAR.
NASCAR 43. Yep.
So Florida, where the race took place, 43.
Oh.
Well, that's just for posterity. Sorry, there won't be any audio in the video, guys. It's not that great. I will say this though, they're rather blasé about the crash. They're just never mind. He could be dead in there after that kind of crash. That was a pretty crazy crash. Concussed. He could be something brutal. I'm telling you, your neck hurts in a 30-mile-an-hour collision. That fool's going 80 in the wall, and he bounced off. Of course, yeah, sure, but where did all that that concussive force go into your bones? Of course, it's mitigated by the roll cage and stuff like that, but not all of it. Buildsubmarines.com. What a I'm telling you, I've noticed on they talk to you in NASCAR. They talk to you through their sponsorships. It's like, okay, there's Lowe's and there's all these other ones, but then there's sometimes where it's just like, I think we decoded one where it was like a university or something like that, like an
That was
online
William
university.
Byron. That was
Is
a
that the
sponsor.
Liberty
Yeah.
University or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah, where it's just you look it up and then you go into like the like the history of it and you realize it has a bunch of like crazy stuff. So yeah, I really do think they talk to you. Who's ever said buildsubmarines.com? How much you got to make to even think of looking into building a submarine? Why is it
like I said, the 60? I mean, when do you ever see the 60 car? Who drives the 60 and put that sponsor on that car? They had this ready to go.
Wow, buildsubmarines.com. I didn't even question it. Mainly because I didn't read it all the way. That's just for posterity. Check out Build Submarines. I mean, buildsubmarines.com. That sounds like a threat. Almost. That sounds like a what's so interesting. Okay, I won't that's a stretch, but there is 3 states in some intense flooding right now. And they're racing in Florida, where they're constantly talking about the eastern seaboard being swept into the sea. I don't know.
Yeah, you got swept into the wall.
I want to say, man, it might have been something else I was looking up.
We got the 74. You almost got the 201.
Let's. I'd have to think about this a little bit more. I didn't really look that much into Mr. Priest. And what does he drive? What is that? Was that a Ford? Was that a Chevy? Oh, I can't tell from there. He drives a Ford. Okay.
It's like Priest Holmes.
Yeah, after the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Kansas City, I mean. Build submarine. I'll just leave that there for in case something else comes up. But was it Ryan Priest?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
I mean, well, I do notice the 52 like Pope.
Yep. 56 too.
56 like Society of Jesus. Oh yeah, the 110 like Ukraine and William as well.
Yeah.
So the 2 people involved have a 110 connection, which is 11, and applying numerology. So,
and it was on lap 11. They had the rain delay. The
that
first
might have
rain
been
delay.
that first little teaser for what they were going to do. So if you had your finger on the pulse to gematria and knew, William, I mean, it's a little bit of a long shot, but I mean, the 47 also plays into it. Keep in mind, I was saying about that Senberger guy, I was noticing the 47s with him. That's why I was like, there's a potential that's why 47 played a big part in me thinking he's a dark horse to win this one. And then all on top of it, you got Trump, which I didn't know about last night, that he was going to do the pace lap. Then you got number 47. And then it come to find out. So it's like, if you had Byron, obviously he's not an underdog to win the race or anything like that. But, to have your finger on that much on the pulse of, the 47, and then you maybe once you saw that lap 11 delay, you could have been like, oh, that would have been a big clue for William there to take it home. And then, of course, you get the Ryan Preece. You quickly throw that in there. You see the 110 there. You're like, okay, 10 laps to go. That's, and at that point, 5 laps to go, or around 10 laps to go. The last 10 laps, you get a 10 lap or a 10 position jump from the eventual winner, Byron, who was in 10th place at the time of the crash, like you said, right?
Yeah, I mean, he drives the 60. His name equals 160. It's kind of interesting. So,
let's see what Priest is a weird name. I've personally never seen that. There's the other 52 110. I mean,
yep. And there's
you
a 29,
go.
34, like Nirvana, William, the 34. Ukraine.
Yeah, all the same cipher, 34 110, just like William. So
Like I said, that first rain delay, I think, was on the. I'm pretty sure it was on lap 11. They completed 10 laps, and I think the second one was like on lap 20. The second rain delay was like lap 20, and NASCAR equals 20. So they had this all ready to go.
Had all their numbers for it, and obviously paying homage to Trump, who's in attendance, who does the pace car. I'm sure that there's potential etymology with these people's names as well. I've never heard priest before. I can only, it does sound very close to priest. Of course, you have the Trump or the Pope nonsense, and priest does have that 52 like Pope. So yeah,
and look how many people have the same name too. I mean, you got Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, you got Ryan Blaney. There used to be Ryan Newman. Now you get Ryan Priest. You have some people with the same exact name. You don't get that very often.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, just like Chases in this. It's like,
right.
What are the odds? Ricky's.
Yep.
That's a common name.
Juniors.
Yeah, so I mean, Junior's telling, and like I think I failed to mention that point earlier when I noticed he did finish 33rd, my dark horse here. These things, masonry spreads, through sons. You know what I mean? So obviously there's initiates and outside initiates potentially. I say obviously, I guess. But they really do try to keep it in the family, so to speak, in the brotherhood. So your sons pick up these things. It's like there's no doubt in my mind that a Dale Earnhardt Jr. is, you're taking on more than the mantle of your dad. You're taking on, you've already been initiated when you were of age. And I think it's pretty early on for, I can't remember where I read it, but I think it's like something to do with like 10 years old or something like that. But they don't like brainwash. It is brainwashing, but they don't like, I think there's some that happens regardless because they're so into their little nipple out, poking each other in the back crap that, it's going to bleed out into raising your kid before that. But I don't think I think there is a concerted effort, at least as far as like the rules, quote unquote rules or guidelines for it goes, mainly for keeping the secret and not having a bunch of kids running around talking about, oh, my masonry. Oh, my dad was getting his butt poked while his nipples were out last night, because they opened the wrong door or something like that. But so they do try to maintain the secrets and not showing it, not attempting to initiate their kids until I think around 10 years old, which is still very young. And I could be wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I don't think that doesn't mean they go to lodge meetings or anything like that, but they make them, I think they even show it. Have you ever seen National Treasure?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Well, their grandfather is a Mason, and he starts showing them about, because they go into the attic and they find like his a box of his treasures or whatever, and he catches him up there and he starts talking to him about it when he was only like 10 years old, and he's like, "You can be one too one day." It's it's Nicolas Cage movie. Anyway, so yeah, they kind of give off, they give their story away. They like to do that in media or entertainment, I should say. But yeah, to my point is these father son. It's a father son thing. Patrick Mahomes just in the Super Bowl. His father played for the Royals or whatever. He professional sports, so or whatever it is. These father son things are so prevalent, and point being is you're going to get a lot of juniors, a lot of juniors. They're not just juniors to nobody. Isn't that funny too? Why can't you just be a junior to a absolute nobody? It's just like, I'm Logan Thomas Jr. and my dad was a janitor, but I'm just like the biggest sports star. And you don't claim the junior then, right? You claim the junior when your dad was an elite athlete or like a billionaire industry man. Then you're a junior, but not for just good old, Papa Garvey. You just don't. How disappointing. No wonder Randy called it quits. He was like, you know what? Fuck my kids, dude.
Yeah, not everyone can be a junior. You got to be a real lucky son of a gun to be a junior.
Yeah.
I'm Ted Ginn Jr.
Yep. There's just. I'm surprised it's not Patrick Mahomes Jr. I wonder if
John Cena Jr.
Does he even have kids?
I don't think he does. No, I think he doesn't.
Well, he's gonna pump out some Iranian American kids. I think his wife or girlfriend or whatever is Iranian or something. I think we talked about that last week. But should have some interesting, maybe some lesser Khalis coming out. All right, I'll stop. But yeah, this race, there's a lot to it. And obviously, if you guys saw more than we did, if you were able to catch the race, or if you saw, being able to watch them and hear these crappy announcers, all they're really good for is, from our perspective, or from my perspective at least, is, giving you those tidbits of vindication. It's vindication for us who know that these things are rigged and scripted, but it's like the throwaway lines that an average fan is not even listening to the sportscaster. You know what I mean? They're paying attention to the field. Like when it comes to take like the Beast Quake, if you remember that, it's like that. It's obviously, go and watch it. It's completely scripted. It's so crazy how when you're a fan of something, your bias just overtakes. You're just wearing bias glasses, and you just don't see that these were not like missed tackles. They were purposeful, just not even trying, and just the shame of what's his face? Oh, what's his name? He was actually a very lauded either a safety or cornerback, one of the better ones in the league, that he just like absolutely throws with like no power at all. It just goes flying back like he got hit by Goku or something. Anyway, but my point being is like the sportscaster's analysis of that real time was so what was it, Chris Collinsworth? Nobody needs to hear his interpretation of that in real time. But I think, he has a script. He knows that he's saying stuff that is, enlightening to the ones who can pick up on it. But so to my point with like the race, the announcer was very like nonchalant. Like there was two announcers, and one of them is just like, "Oh my gosh," and just shuts up, and the other one's just like, "Oh, here he goes again. He's just another crash at another Daytona." Just doesn't even react to the fact that he could be like dead in there. Pretty badass, honestly. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, it's like you don't remember Dale Earnhardt here all those years ago. It's like, yeah, and that was 24 years ago. So there's a 24. Maybe that's where it comes to the 24.
Wow. Great point there. I think that is actually huge. There's no way that that's not huge. Get the number 24 car winning.
Last year was in year 24. This year it's 24 years after Dale Earnhardt died.
And if this ends up being a dynasty, people will look back to these wins that started in 24. When we're doing decodes, we'll talk about like, Kansas City or the Lakers or anything like that. You'll look at the first championship of their run being in that year 24. Well, if this is like a dominance of Daytona for Byron or Hendrick Motorsports, even never mind Byron, Hendrick Motorsports, moreover, you could look back and that 24 is going to play huge. They're not going to say, oh, it was 24, 25, 26. You'll more than likely you'll say, this all started in 2024 in the year 24. So yeah, great point on that.
And Jeff Gordon, that was his last championship he won was 24 years ago in 2001. That was his last championship 24 years ago. So maybe I thought last year was gonna be William Byron's year. Maybe it'll be this year. You might get the 24 championship again. 24 years Dale Earnhardt, 24 years of Jeff Gordon winning the championship last time the 24.
Yeah. Hey, dude. No, that's a great point. And of course, it being 2001, we could go on for decade, we can go on for 6 hours, right? Starting now about how that could be important. And what's funny enough is too, I was a youngin', I was 11 years old, but I actually had my finger to the pulse of NASCAR because they were pushing NASCAR in school so heavy. Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt. And I'm sure I could remember a couple other ones given time, but mostly Jeff Gordon. He was doing all the Pepsi commercials, all the food commercials, like all the fast food commercials. I think he had toys and stuff like that they were pushing heavy back in the day. So even just as a kid who didn't pay attention to NASCAR, I knew well and good about Jeff Gordon. In fact, one of my better friends who lived at the end of my street, his dad bet on races and like pool betting at bars. They fill out like a bracket and they turn him into the bar. Well, he would always let us do one, even though I didn't know anything about him. And he would let me and Ethan fill one out each for his betting. The more you look at it, it's just like, parents, what were they all up to back in the day? But anyway, what were they trying to get us into? But no wonder I had a semi gambling addiction not that long ago, really. But anyway, yeah. So I, even without caring about NASCAR, he was big into NASCAR. My buddy's dad, and so it's like NASCAR was, I feel like you were saying they have eras of it. They have eras with their figures. They have eras with their vehicles. They do move in that way, and I guess in a larger scope, really everything does, right? There's eras that every major sport really goes by eras, doesn't it?
Really does. Yeah, you got to think. 2001, that's when Jeff Gordon first got the flames too. So it's 24 years since the start of the flames on the car. And got rid of the rainbow, and now we're going to the flames. So yeah, Dale Earnhardt dies that race. The race he turns to the flames. His last championships in the flames. all that being 24 years ago. Yeah, huge symbolism here in this race.
Dude, yeah, great off the top catch with these 24s. I knew it. I mean, I obviously just knowing Gordon won again, and they're still, racing the 24 car. There's a reason they're still doing that. I'm sure that there's some sort of bureaucracy in order to get number switches, or how, I don't know the exacts between that. If you're just assigned to numbers, or you have numbers based on some sort of arbitrary means, or whatever, or if you as owners, they own numbers. If that's how that works, I think that is something like that. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. No, that's absolutely spot on. 24 years ago, with all of this, the Dale Earnhardt, you have Gordon winning again. There's obvious symbolism towards probably not only the winner of this year's championship, Cup Series, whatever, but think about this happening on the back of, because they don't do all sports at once. That would be redundant. People would be like, what? Wait, so the Lakers have won 5 in a row, and the Chiefs have won 5 in a row, or the Patriots have won 5 in a row, and the Blackhawks have won 5 in a row, all at the same 5 years, and they don't do that. So think about that. The Chiefs just lost their potential dynasty, and now you have the start of what could be a dynasty of Daytona dominance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and another thing to look at too, you see he's 27 years old. Obviously, Kurt Cobain died at 27. Looks like he's 5'9". It's like I'm 5'9", Super Bowl 59. Kurt Cobain's 5'9". So again, all the 59s. Austin Cindric leads 59 laps, the most laps. You got to look at every little minor detail when it comes to something like this, because everything plays into it. Even when you go back to the past, because like I said, Kurt Cobain's birthday just being about 3 days away now, and Kurt Cobain dies April '94. Jeff Gordon wins his first NASCAR race in May of '94, like just a month after. So that was the start of that dynasty after Kurt Cobain dies, and his birthday's coming up, and look who's winning the race is Byron now. So it's kind of interesting the way they set all of this up and how they transfer things and make these things happen. I mean, it's quite remarkable.
It really is. It's funny. You make a great point too. And that was the Coca-Cola 600, and he represented Pepsi. He was the Pepsi guy. That's pretty funny. There's no doubt there was a joke in there about that, for sure. Because I mean that even in soft drinks and fast food, there's eras. Things move in and out of the spotlight in those ways too. Unfortunately, so ridiculous. How do you keep that baby bottom smooth, Jeff? What's your secret? A Gillette, of course. No, who's the Gillette drivers? I remember the Gillette driver being a popular driver too. That was one of those.
Yeah, the Gillette Young Guns. Yeah, that's everybody under 30, or what they used to have. I don't know if that's still around or still a thing, but
oh yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
You know what's interesting too? In the 1994 and 1995 Daytona 500, 30 years ago, there was the repeat Sterling Marlin driving the 4. He won, driving the 4, 4 number of death. Kurt Cobain died in 94. Just 2 months after Marlin wins at 500, then he wins it again the next year. So he went back to back in 94 and 95, and now in 2024 and 2025, you have another guy going back to back. That's a pretty interesting point too. A 4.
And yeah, he's doing this right now. Yeah, for Hendrick Motorsports. That's what I. Oh yeah, you made another great point too, and because I know these things are. I wanted to make add to it when you mentioned the Toyota and the Honda snub, right? If you think about it, Toyota is one of the bigger importers into America. I mean, so is Honda, but I think contractually, there. I remember that being that whole stink about the Toyota. I mean, there was like several different stories about Toyota. They really pushed Toyota for a good amount of time there. And I'm not a hater of Toyota either. In fact, their older models, I almost, I would have loved to have owned one, or would still love to own one, like an older Tacoma or an older, mainly an older Tacoma, or they're old, even older T series trucks, any of them really. Those things just don't quit, really. Well, it's in particular, it's those motors that don't quit. But like the EJ 22s or something like that, I can't remember exactly what they're called. But you could see Honda. What I was going to say before is you could see the potential because of how. Well, it's hard to say. Maybe it'll be the other way around. Maybe the domestic cars will make a comeback and start pushing the foreign market out. Because I was going to say they made such a stink about it, and that's why Toyota got that's why Toyota has the contracts, because these things have to be contractual. I guarantee you. I mean, obviously. But yeah, maybe you'll see domestic, as a symbol, because you got to understand these, the fans, they see Ford and they see Dodge and they see those cars winning. They'll be like, America, you know what I mean? They'll be like, industry's bad. Look at us. We're kicking the foreign cars market's butt just through races. So they'll apply these things to, economics when they don't have any skin in the game of economics. And they'll subconsciously, cue those things together. So maybe this is like, and I'm not saying that the domestic exports will actually become an actual reality, but it could be a subconscious, cue to make us believe that the lies that Trump said, because Trump is always talking about Detroit. He's always talking about the motor industry and reviving it and what the Democrats have done to it. Look at it. We used to do all these great things. We used to have steel industry in America that we were known for, and all this other stuff. And yeah, maybe that is, but once again, I think this is another one of those instances where you take a step back, and new cars, I think there needs to be some sort of abolishment of how do we keep making so many cars? The junkyards are just piling up, and instead of finding, well, what happened to recycling and being green? It's not like that at all when it comes to vehicles, and it's just it's such a weird thing when you think about it. I know I'm bouncing all around the place with this particular subject, but
no, you brought up a perfect point, because you got to think about it too. I mean, like all the older models, like you said, that the '90s Toyotas and Hondas were just unstoppable. And like I said, even like my 2002 Pontiac I had was the best car I ever had. I mean, everything is, everything after that just went to shit. After like 2002, all the models just went to fuck. And it's like, you have just so many garbage cars now. And even my car, it's a 2010, but I mean, that was half of my life ago already. And I think, like,
crazy.
God, it's like that 2010 was that long ago. It felt like it was just 2010. I'm like, what? So yeah, that was half my life ago. Everything is getting outdated so fast, but the quality isn't there anymore, and how expensive these things are as well, and to maintain them. And I mean, that's the thing. I mean, no one can afford these new cars because they're not made well. They're so expensive. There's so many things wrong with them. And again, they're not built to last. The motors aren't built to last. None of it's built to last. It's built to break down and screw you over. So, um, and even the new Hondas and Toyotas aren't anywhere as good as the old ones. But I mean, as far as anything else out there, I mean, you pretty much, if you want quality, you have, if it's newer, you're gonna have to buy a Honda or a Toyota or something, because everything else just sucks. But even the new ones suck too. So everything's just so expensive, and just see what are some people going to do? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, um, so many people are they want the 90s, early 2000s cars, but the problem is that was just so long ago already. I mean, if you own a 95, I mean, that was 30 years ago. I mean, it's crazy. It's like, man, these are the best cars ever made, but now the best cars ever made are dying off and dying out because they're just so old, and they're pretty much garbage and junked out too. So it's like, what do you buy for vehicles? Because the good ones are just so outdated and so long ago, but the new ones are just such total shit. So you do have a massive issue with communication, getting around, transportation, how what people are going to do. I mean, because everything, I mean, now is, I mean, and there's different, like you said, I mean, you don't just have the Tesla. I mean, you have other electric vehicles too. So you have these other electric vehicles. You have the Teslas. Um, you got the other garbage cars that are coming out now, and with all the technology and stuff and everything, it's just yeah. I mean, it's impossible to keep up with it and maintain it. I mean, it's um, everything's just so just out there, and it's like, so there to me, there definitely has to be something done. There has to be, because like I just, it's just outrageous that people even think about buying a new car anymore. I mean, it's just like the fact that anybody's even going to go out and buy something new, because you're wasting your money. The quality sucks. It's not there. It hasn't been there for a long time. So I mean, yeah, I mean, we're being priced out of everything. I mean, what are people going to do? I mean, so, and I think that's where, it's like, oh, well, you need a car. Well, hey, I mean, we'll give you this Tesla incentive if you, uh, push Trump and say he's the best president of all time, and get a mega hat. So here you go. I mean, this is where this brings up the trends of society, that the sellouts, everything. I mean, people selling out left and right. It's just, to make money and to do things. And that's just where it's going. And, um, yeah, all this stuff goes hand in hand. I mean, it's just, it really is amazing that what they've constructed life to be, and how they've designed this, um, how they've just been planning our demise and putting these things in our face. I mean, it's, how many years now have you just seen the same old, just, I mean, how many, I mean, there's so many, and you used to have like, there's like older cars too. Like you never seen, like recalls and all the stuff. And if you did, there were certain models that were bad, but it's like now, I mean, cars are having problems at like 10,000 miles. They're like breaking down, and they're having major, it's like, man, I mean, and then here you could go buy like, an old Pontiac, and you can get like 400,000 miles out of it. And the only thing you had to do like halfway through its life really was put a fucking head gasket in for like $1,500. So it's like, these are your options now. So yeah, like I said, something definitely has to be done. And it's just like, um, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see like a Tesla electric car push in NASCAR. We see something along those lines, or maybe it won't be uh, that, but I mean, maybe we're going to see, Honda get in there first, and then we're going to see something else. Like I said, Honda, and then and then it's going to be Toyota, and maybe we'll get rid of Chevy, and then be like, well, maybe it's time to get a Tesla or electric car in there. I mean, I could see all of this happen in the next 5 years. I think that the window's totally open, the door's totally open. Um, Especially if we see maybe even like a death or something like that, and a bad crash, something. Cause it's like, oh, well, our Tesla car here is going to be completely safer. So they can come in and they can make these changes. And I think this is what we have to look forward to in the near future.
Imagine Denny Hamlin, huge crash, and they postpone the race indefinitely, like they did the NFL game.
Yeah.
Only this time it's Denny Hamlin, and that'd be Jeff Gordon would have to take his words back, because that would be a much better script than before.
Yeah, they could definitely do it better. Yep, Hamlin and the 11, the master number. I mean,
I didn't even know he drove the 11. Holy crap! Good call. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, they could do the whole Hiram Abiff with cars.
Crash will happen on lap 11.
The 33 car.
Yep.
Man, I mean, we went into this sucker raw too. We just tag teamed this. So we didn't even. I mean, I didn't. Other than who won, I checked earlier when I was at work, but I hadn't had time to really dive into this. But man, I think if we were to clean our list up here a little bit and just the highlights, you have the 43 car. And this could be a nice little presentation too, so people can see it, get a better visual. You get the 43 car in Florida, which NASCAR equals 43 as well. Send airborne the number 60 car for buildsubmarines.com.
Oh yeah.
This, of course, on the heels of the 60th election, where Trump was in attendance and did the pace car. You have that person be Ryan Preece, which Preece equals 34 and 110, just like William, the winner, just like Ukraine, who's been major in the news, just like you said, Nirvana with Kurt Cobain's anniversary of his birthday coming up. And I know 47, for the average listener, they got to know what that means, especially with Trump in attendance. But also the supreme authority, according to a lot of retards in this world, the Pope, how his major news just the day before, and how he wasn't going to do the Sunday blessing and all that good stuff because he's ill with. I know that there was 47s attached to that, whether or not it was bronchitis, what he got, or something to do with those things. Yeah, there was. So I think, a couple of things played pretty heavy on it. Obviously Trump, and obviously the Pope with the 52s and the 56s in NASCAR as well. 52 like Pope. I guess I could write that out so people could see it.
Yeah, I mean, Austin Cindric, like I said, leading the most laps, 59.
Oh, that's right. Great point.
Yeah, I picked. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we see through these scripts. I mean, this is what I was telling you yesterday, last night, how I thought, like, because he won the other duel, and I thought he was going to be in this one, having a shot to win it and be one of the favorites. There he is, lead the most laps, and look how many laps it is. It's 59. I mean, it's like Kurt Cobain's going to be in the 59th year of his life. He's going to be 58. Freemasonry 58, 59. So you have. Just had Super Bowl 59, so that's why Cindric's going to lead the most laps. It's going to be 59.
Yeah, we're in the 60th season of the NFL in the modern era.
Yeah.
So, or Super Bowl era or whatever.
They're going to have the 60 card with a big Shanton bomb.
Just before WrestleMania coming up. Got to get the crazy high flying antics on the circuit before you do them in the ring, which the ring, it's a big square. Why do they call it a ring?
Right. Yeah, and like I said, Sean O'Hara's birthday is going up on the 25th too. So I mean, they have everything right. It's amazing how they put this together. It's really just really something. This was a big race tonight.
Oh yeah, especially with it being the first major one, and I would say telling, dude. You're 24. Oh yeah, did I even freaking say the 24s? So yeah, you have the 24. I deleted the tabs. You have the 24 car winning. Obviously, Jeff Gordon popularized that back in the day, especially 24 years ago, where he won, where also Dale Earnhardt died in 2001. So
Flames started in 2001.
oh yeah, the changing from
That,
the rainbow to the flame.
yep. Dale Earnhardt dies that race. I mean, just absolutely biblical. The prophecy was really fulfilled tonight. I mean, that's for sure.
Imagine Zach back in the day if he was doing that. He'd have been all over that. That would have been like he would not have missed that. The day the race you unveil the flames instead of the rainbow. A major
Right.
death. The major death in the sport.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and Dodge was reintroduced again to NASCAR in that race too.
Hmm.
You have Dodge being reintroduced.
Well, Dale Earnhardt couldn't dodge very good.
Nope. Couldn't dodge the Ken Schrader Pontiac, that's for sure, and the wall.
He got shredded to bits.
Yeah, Marty Schrader.
He got ran through the Schrader.
Yeah,
This is terrible. We're awful. But then
and
again, he's
look who
sipping
hit him.
mimosas on an island.
It was Sterling Marlin, the 40 car. Like I said, he won the 94, the 95 Daytona 500s. So you have, like I said, that 30 years ago, you have the repeat, the 94, 95, and 2024 and 2025. And then he was the one that bumped, or Dale Earnhardt went down and made contact with him in the 40. And that's when he was driving the 40. So you have the death number 40, the 4 O's, so sums to 4. 4 being the number of death.
Hold up. So you said that oh my goodness. On top of that, that's just hilarious. You have the Florida Marlins and Sterling Marlin wins in
2 in a
Florida.
row.
At Daytona, 2 in a row.
And this was his
We
first
just
win
found
ever.
out this is in Pisces, the fish symbol. Come on, man. Come on, man.
This was his first win too.
Oh, jeez.
Kurt Cobain's about to die in 2 months, so we got to get the
They did
4.
a lot less laps back in the day. The Kodak car, huh? Can't miss this. You're gonna see me do. Yeah, that's just.
Yeah, and in '94 it was the Chevy Lamina. He won it, and then he won it with the first race ever in the Monte Carlo, because '95 was the Monte Carlo, so he won the first race ever. That's how they always do it.
I wouldn't mind a Monte Carlo SS. Consumer vehicle version, but I always liked those. I'm not a huge Chevy fan, but I did like those. Those weren't bad to me for sure.
Yeah, they raced all the way up to 2095 to 2007. Yeah, the Grand Prix too. The Grand Prix, Dodge Intrepid, Ford Thunderbird. Those were all great cars.
Yeah, the consumer version of the Thunderbird was ugly too. I always thought that was a disappointing car. It was kind of cool looking. When I think the earlier model of the Thunderbird, the one before they did the Kirby, when it was still in the sharp edges Thunderbird, that one was decent. But the newer one, I didn't like that. It was similar to the Taurus. I just didn't like it. I mean, also, I'm talking about astrology, and we're just glancing over Taurus. The Ford Taurus. I'm sure that those cars had a bigger chance of winning in Taurus than in other signs, but whatever. Yeah, that's just crazy. Yeah, I mean, you said Sterling Marlin a couple times, and I'm like, hold up. Florida's known for its marlin population, yeah. And you have a guy win back-to-backs like we're talking about now. Like you said, starts in 94, wins in 95 as well, but runs the number 4 car. Even then, Dale Earnhardt won the duel for that first 94. Man, they had this whole thing pieced together for a long time in a lot of different ways.
Oh yeah, they
That's
did.
hilarious.
Wins the last Daytona 500, and the Chevy Lamina wins the very first one in the Monte Carlo. Perfect.
Wow. Of course, you got the Michael McIntyre reposting this, you know, the MM. I don't know who that guy is, but whatever. Just got to throw that out there.
First
All
win
right.
in 94.
All right. So where do we transition from this big race and what we noticed about it? What do you want to talk about? I know I hinted at, you know, the Pope falling ill, and so there's that we could talk about. There is the
Yeah, because this week was
astronauts.
real interesting because you really I only had a little bit on the two stories. There was two on the 13th, and the other two on Valentine's Day. Well, really the three. You had the JD Vance, of course, on Valentine's Day, the Pope on Valentine's Day, and Patrick Mahomes' father on Valentine's Day. And then on the 13th, day before, you had the Eagles guitarist. You had that. Then you had the NASA story too. But yeah, I think we can transfer into like the Pope, JD Vance, Mahomes going to like um, Valentine's Day, then maybe talk about the 13th after that and stuff. And because kind of the highlight of the week was kind of those 2 days when it came to the stories.
So exactly. So you have the Pope, yeah, Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope, first to live in Suite 201, whose full name equals 201, and so on and so forth. Jesuit order equals 201. I'll highlight that when we go to the gematria aspect of this. But you have him falling ill and not able to do the Sunday blessing today. And of course, this news breaks on Valentine's Day, named after a saint. I know we don't like to say Saint Valentine's Day, but that is the name of the holiday and the holy day. And you know how fitting that you get Pope in the news on a, you know, the veneration of a Satan day. No, no coincidence there. Um, but yeah, this, like you mentioned earlier, the potential for the Pope, this, you know, like we might have the last president. This could be, you know, they've hinted that this will be the last Pope as well. Not just hinted, prophesized that it would be the last Pope as well. And what they're kind of doing right now is, I think, prodding your subconscious with hints and things to look back on to make his death seem probable. You know, the eventual death story, people will accept it, is what I'm trying to say. The same, you know, Jimmy Carter, things of that nature. But one thing I found that was incredibly interesting is, look at this headline. They say this across multiple headlines, just not in this little group of four. But this is what he was. They say doctor's order, but this is, they prescribed him. They call it absolute rest, quote unquote, end quote. Absolute rest. Talking about the Pope needing to take a rest because he's old and sickly. They need him to go on absolute rest. Think of all the ways you could. How ominous is that? You go to your doctor and they tell you, no, not bed rest, not get better, not to do less you know, strenuous activities. Take an absolute rest. It's like, what does that mean other than death? Like, what is absolute? Who would you ever say? Think of, you know, what else would you associate with absolute rest? That just sounds like another word for death. It's like rest, coma, absolute rest. That's death. The absolute rest is death. Absolute means something. You can't just say absolute and act like it means nothing. Absolute means definitive. So it's pretty funny how they do it. And I do take this as a huge hint. And the beginning, not the beginning, I should say, because he's had a bunch of problems. I mean, they've just been beating this guy's ass, which I'm sure he deserves it. But I'm sure you've seen him, you know, with big marks on his chin from supposedly falling over. Meanwhile, it's, you know, I'm sure it's a much more sinister story, the reality behind it. But you got Arturo Sosa, give him a little. That's not what we agreed upon, you motherfucker. But I'm the real Pope. Anyway. Yeah, it's just I think there's a lot to dig into this. It's just hard to care, but to truly care, but we can talk about the narratives that go with this, because I mean, I think it is fitting for us speaking on eras, because a popeless era, that's going to be a new thing for us. There's always been a pope. It's not like we're beholden to him. I'm not saying we're Catholic and we follow him. It's just there's always been a pope for the world's lemmings that think that we need a stupid pope. I can't. It's always been beyond me, no matter when. I know how old I've been, but especially with this particular pope, this Jesuit pope, it's telling that they start kind of weaning him out, and it's also telling that they do this at 88.
Yeah. And did you see too how they reported his age wrong? They purposely put it to 87. Yep.
Yes,
that was Saint Valentine is 87. The Catholic Church 87. Ignatius of Loyola 87.
I think it's the. Forgive me for putting that at the end. I don't want to retype it.
And Saint Valentine's Day too. It's got that 110 going up to 110.
No, it was the full thing. How is it spelled?
Which one you trying to spell?
Saint Valentine's Day.
Saint Valentine's Day. Saint and then Valentine's VALE.
I know how to spell it. I just didn't know if it was Saint spelled out or not. Oh yeah, that's right. Saint Valentine. Okay. Or was it Saint Valentine? Saint Valentine. That's the one that's 87. And then the interesting thing about Saint Valentine's Day is that it equals 214, which is the date.
Yep.
And like you said, that 110 too, which is highly interesting as well.
Yeah, the Catholic Church 87, Ignatius of Loyola 87.
They absolutely did report him at 87, several different ones. And then what I noticed was like the overcorrection where, now let's just see here. Look at it. They put his age in the first line now. It's like, how it's just like, no, we were right all along. We knew his 88. Let's check the other one. This one, it's a while down the road that they mention he's 88 in this article. But I just think it's, it's funny that these journalists, how they do it. I don't have a perfect example, but I did see the articles that list him at 87, and that's just hilarious. It's just they love doing this. Chadwick Boseman. There's several examples of them, getting the dates wrong on purpose to fulfill their age. The count, the death tolls on massacres or whatever wrong or different, just to fulfill a specific ritual number for themselves. But yeah, it's pretty funny how they do that. And yeah, this is like you were saying, all these 87s in the same cipher. And then you have, of course, the next day they kind of they double down that he's 88, the correct age, which is in itself an an interesting number, especially when we talk about Trump. That's always been associated with Donald Trump. Not to say that he's the main factor of what it makes 88. It's just that that number kind of follows him, not only in his name gematria, but in the goings on around him. I think it's just Trump, though. And so keep in mind, Donald Trump is his name. Trump is his last name. Trump is a word outside of that. And the tarot deck obviously has the Trump cards. So, and there's that, that 47 we talk about, that 88. And that this is one of the reasons I had that Van Gesberg guy or whatever as a dark horse. And like I said, if I would have then found out that Trump was also doing the lead lap or whatever, the pace car, I would have definitely put money on this race for that guy and lost it, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, how fitting that on St. Valentine's Day. Let's quickly look up what St. Valentine is canonized for. Okay. Beekeepers, that's interesting. Okay, why? Okay, I'm not reading on it. Where is a succinct? Not his story, but yes. Oh, okay. So he's associated with love because he allowed unrequited love to be married in the law behind the back of the emperor, supposedly. And I'm sure that there's more to it, but whatever. Let's just sum it up with that, so we have an idea. Maybe you get a papal bull for global gay marriage within the church. I mean, because when you think about it too, like I haven't kept up with his papal bulls. It annoys me even just calling him that. But what is he going to go down for? You know what I mean? What do they canonize for? Pope Francis. What are they going to canonize his ugly ass for? Being the ugliest pope? That could be. Maybe having the ugliest sister.
Yeah, and it's like, look at how again these 59s are coming in. Austin Cindric leading 59 laps, most laps tonight in the race, and then you have, like I said, the news breaks. I mean, it's obviously it's a very Catholic holiday, and you get 59 days after Pope Francis' birthday. Of course, Pope Francis equals 59 and 58, like Freemasonry. I remember Pope Benedict, he stepped down on the 59th day of the year for Francis on February 28th, 2013, the last day of February. I remember that's when too he also died on the very last day of December, December 31st, 2022. Last day of the year of the tiger, or whatever. But yeah, that was December 31st, 2022, and 31 is the 11th prime number. He died 3 days after reporting he felt really sick. Of course, Pope, it's got the 52, the 25, the 56, the 11. 3 has also got the 56, the 29, 79, 25. And he also died on the 52nd week of the year, New Year's Eve, also equals 52 and 56 as well. So I mean, they had his death
Well in
well,
advance for sure.
yeah, scripted to a T.
Funny enough, New Year's Eve equals 142, like 14/2, like Valentine's Day. Just a interesting potential something there. I know it doesn't play into that exactly, but it is interesting.
Yeah, and his birthday too is April 16th. So um, you had the April 16th, and then you had, prophecy equals, 52 and 110 and 29 as well. And prophecy also equals 106. Um, April also equals 56, 29, 79, 34. Of course, he died the last day of December. December's got the 55, the 44. You got the kill, you got the Satan in there. I mean, just
Yeah,
look at how how they report it too. I mean, now Francis, he's got bronchitis. Bronchitis, it's got the 54, the 153, Jesuit order 54, 153.
definitely things I noticed as well. And yeah, I mean, there was more to this as well. Was it the hospital he's taken to? It's like Gamelli has the 63 like bronchitis. This was the hospital he's taken to. It's like it's a hospital that has literal the top like 2 floors of the whole hospital are just empty. They're just there for the Vatican. Anybody from the Vatican. And then there's an even more special Pope hospital room. It's like, I'm sure he doesn't use the bathroom just like everybody else. I'm sure it's collected. Oh, please, sir. May I have some more poop of yours? It's like shit.
Yeah.
You know, wouldn't it, it's like as a selfless citizen serving as the vicar of Christ, wouldn't you, in Jesus's name, be hospitalized with all the rest of the people?
Right.
Why would you have a special wing that lays dormant otherwise? That it just is just taxpayers pay for. It's not like it's in Vatican City. At least I don't think it was. I guess I shouldn't speak ahead of myself. No, it's just in Rome. It's outside of Vatican City. So it's not like some hospital that's in their own little jurisdiction. He has to exit his sovereign state in order to go to the hospital. But even there, I mean, granted, these leaders own the whole of Italy. Not to say it's that much. You could fit Italy in just about any state in America. But yeah, you make great points with the numbers here. And I just wonder narrative wise what they're pointing towards. Because like you said, like you mentioned earlier, they've talked about this being the last pope, and especially when having to do with prophecy, which equals, like you said, 52. And just like Pope. And this is the Pope that's handled, maybe the biggest 56 scheme they've worked up maybe in the history, as far as I know, with coronavirus. So, I guess maybe that's his legacy, right? Is
Yeah, I think so.
his ordinances during COVID are probably what he's going to go down for. He's probably going to be, they'll make they'll put him in like a plague mask or something. I don't know what they'll do with it. They'll romanticize his role in this world in one way or another. Especially if he's the last one. It's not just that he'll be the last one. He'll definitely need to be. They'll have to put a cap on it, and they'll end it with a bang. And that doesn't mean the Catholic Church going anywhere either. That just means these cardinals and these bishops are going to have their responsibilities more in the limelight. They're going to be taking up these positions more publicly. I would assume, because as it stands, who knows more than one cardinal or bishop? And the only reason you know that cardinal or bishop is because they're associated with American politics. So, there's so many people, and which, by the way, right now, I read that there's like controversy going on in the church, in the Vatican, about Pope Francis, about him not being a good leader, not because of his age or anything like that, but just like some of the questionable things he's done. I think it has regards to do with potentially the leniency on LGBTQ and other weird things like that, and other maybe potentially the wars that are breaking out. But I heard that there's like bishops and against him and stuff like that. Not that I think it's real.
Well, too, I mean, you look at, like you said, his legacy being COVID. Remember, he became the first Jesuit Pope on March 13th, 2013, and what happened, 7 years later, Friday the 13th, March, we go to lockdown. So
Friday the 13th, which is obviously a esoteric remembrance day for the burning on the pyre of the Knights Templars, which serve the Catholic Church. So all these things, I mean, this it's like you love saying, we need to get like little buttons or something. It's all connected, folks. It is all connected, as Austin likes to say. I'm going to write that down, actually. So we won't. I don't think we need to harp too long on that. Maybe we'll find more things that play into it, because guarantee these things, the major headlines. I mean, to my point, I wanted to talk about the floods too. We'll get to that, but I think these have Pope numbers and Pope, what's the word for it? They have it written fingerprints all over it as well. This flooding in Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. But I think you wanted to touch on the space station, Boeing, SpaceX trial and soap opera that's given to us, right?
Yeah, we can get into the Mahomes thing too.
Let's touch Mahomes first. Yeah, that's good point.
Yeah, because that was also the same day. The JD Vance thing too also was on the same exact day. There were some interesting numbers in that as well. But yeah, I mean, Mahomes. And too, if you write out Randy Mahomes or whatever, I think that was the guy whose grandfather that died.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the 120 and the 69 like Illuminati.
Sure does.
I remember too, of course, this, like I said, this happens the same day you get the Pope and the JD Vance story on Valentine's Day. And it was, 1 year after the anniversary of the Super Bowl parade shooting. I remember too that the Kansas City Chiefs began as the Dallas Texans in the 214 area code. On the 214.
Oh, yes. Dude, let me show that. That's a good point.
Yeah, and the grandfather died 150 days after Mahomes' birthday in Philadelphia Eagles 150 as well.
Got the Dallas Texans and Dallas area.
It's 5 days. It was 5 days after the Super Bowl. Mahomes just played in his 5th Super Bowl. Same time as the Eagles. The news comes on 41 date numerology. Super Bowl equals 41 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And in that post that was shared too for the Randy Mahomes was from Matthew 25. You know, it's year 2025, like we've been saying. So,
Oh yeah, the mom shared it, right?
yeah, and the date numerology is also 25. Yep, 25 date numerology, year 25, Matthew 25.
Yeah, here's something that could be telling. We'll do it real time here. Everything spells him like his name like he's a sorority chick, but Randy with an I, right?
Right.
Well, go back here. Let's see what this one story. Okay, can I not go back now? People.com has him named Randy with a Y.
I just can't get their story straight.
Hmm.
55, 62. 62 points in the Super Bowl, 55. Eagles scored 55 in the NFC Championship. Satan 55.
It's Randy by himself though. Oh, there's that 62 like Randy Mahomes, and the total score you got 26 like
God, Cobain.
God. Yep.
Cobain, COVID,
55.
God.
He's going to see God, right? That's what people would say. I'm sure they believe that he's going to see God, of course. 28 too. Perfect number. Huh. Yeah, good point on the dude. Yeah, that's crazy. Dallas plays in the 214 area code. This happens on 2/14 Valentine's Day. Oh, yikes. So good.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Got to give it to these people.
I mean, what else is this? They talk about his grandfather's death. Now his dad suffers fresh legal blow. What's this all about? What are you talking about? If you're talking about, is it his mom's dad? Okay, I was gonna say if it's his dad's dad, why would they separate it like this? If it's his dad's dad who died, why wouldn't they say it in that context? But it must have been his mom's dad. This just reads so poorly. This is definitely AI written. Like, what does this mean? You have to say more than this to make things make sense. Either that or that's just where we're at in this world. A Texas district attorney reportedly wants Patrick Mahomes' dad to wear an alcohol monitoring bracelet after he was spotted having a heated altercation in New Orleans last week. You can't have heated altercations. You can't drink. It sounds like he's on parole for something or whatever.
Yeah.
But still, like, what? Spotted having a heated altercation? What does that mean? Who needs to spot you? Who spotted you? What does it matter who spotted? If you were spotted, did you do something to? Why would you say it's because he was spotted? Did he do something? Did the person who got the altercation?
What did he do?
That's what it's so strange.
I spotted you. I see you. I see you.
I saw you hiding over there.
You're in your bushes.
You're not so sneaky after all.
I see your big Hello Kitty eyes.
He was a day late for his urine sample. Like, thank God we know about Patrick Mahomes' dad's urine sample.
Yeah.
No, bro. I was gonna have nothing for the water cooler tomorrow if I didn't get this. If I didn't get this article, I was coming up drier than this. Than Rand or than Mahomes' dad on the 11th. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Just burn him again. Ultimately, he lost 40-22. Just for no reason, bring it up. Wait, his dad and a fighter are gonna fight in Dave Portnoy's. Can this get out of my screen? Oh my gosh. All right. Whatever. Oh, there we go. Before it was confirmed by Dave Portnoy that they would fight. What is this? Barstool Sports? Isn't that what this guy does? I can't remember. Former baseball stars John Rocker and Mahomes Sr. confronting each other outside of. So they're set to fight. They're at the Super Bowl together, and they're getting into an altercation. In a video which appears to have been taken sometimes during Super Bowl week, Mahomes Sr. and Rocker were seen confronting each other in the street. So what? Dude, these stories are so bad. Okay. The two appeared to try physically attacking each other. Appeared? Did they or not? How did this? Why did this happen to him being subpoenaed for? Oh, he's so ugly, Dave Portnoy.
We spotted you.
Look at that spotting. Got him. We got him. We got him. Someone had to step in. That better be his wife. Who steps in and holds you by there? Hey, imagine you go to break up a fight and you just grab a guy by the waist right there. No, let's not do this, bro. And then you're fighting him. Now I'm fighting you. I don't care. Rocker tossed his cup full of ice at him. So you know what's in his cup, but you don't. But it's iffy. It's this is so ridiculous how they write these things. They just need to write crap. They always need to write. I mean, look at this. There's less words than ads on this page. What the fuck? There's literally less words than ads right now. Oh, can't stand it. Since we're talking about the Super Bowl a little bit, I do want to mention one thing. Have you caught wind of what they're trying to do with the Super Bowl halftime show? How they're trying to make it the most cool thing that's ever happened. And Kendrick Lamar, he left so many hidden gems in there. You know how many headlines I've seen that's just what you missed, what he said without even saying it. You didn't even know what he did. It's just they're trying to make it like he did some cryptic, insane performance when in reality, it's been sweeping the web how nobody cared about it. There's videos popping up everywhere about people filming during the halftime show. And if you watch a film, if you watch the NFL's version of it, it's loud and raucous and you think the whole stadium's in on it. But then there's people who are in real time videoing it around the stadium. And it's just a bunch of people just sitting with their heads into their laps, not even paying attention to the halftime show. Super quiet, pin drop. It's all you can hear is far off noise almost. And they're trying to make it it was the best halftime performance ever. And it was so nuanced and cryptic. And Kendrick Lamar's the best ever. He's so good, gifted with his ways. And it's just I just want to bring that up for anybody who's also annoyed about it as I am. I'm not. I've had my fanboy days of rappers and rap in general. I'd say that's kind of behind me. I still appreciate the actual ability of rapping, and I've tried my hand at rapping a few times, but it's just ridiculous. This is just to hold up this whole Drake Kendrick thing, just to be even more ongoing because they got nothing. They literally got nothing. It's so boring. Everything is so stagnant and so boring. They just need to drum up these stupid stories to make anything seem relevant anymore. And it's just getting to me. I just wanted to bring that up on a little bit of a tangent. How ridiculous. Anything can be a story, just like his dad needing to pee in a cup. But instead he got instead of peeing in a cup, he got the contents of a cup poured on him.
Yeah.
It's just what? Who cares?
They're gonna start playing fisticuffs, man.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, peace out to his grandpappy. I'm sure he was a good dude. I'm sure there was no kind of a. I don't know what I was thinking. Of course he's of course he's the grandfather of the mom, or the father of the mom. His dad's black. Anyway, yeah, a little whoopsie there. Maybe he just had the bleaching or anyway. But so yeah, you got all three. He's a father now too, or he is a father again recently to crap. What's his kid? What do you name his kid? Do you remember?
I forget.
Something ridiculous. Just she'll get beat up, and that's whatever. Oh yeah, they're all like medals. So yeah, you got bronze, golden ray, sterling sky like silver, Patrick bronze Levon. Oh my god. When the bully gets a hold of these kids, dude, it's GG's. They better hope they're the bullies.
They better form a stable.
Yeah. Also, is his first child a son? Or does he have all girls? Oh no, Patrick, obviously his middle child's a son. Okay. Hmm. Interesting. Well, anyway, yeah, good points about this all happening on Valentine's Day. And what was the other rolling out in the headlines Valentine's Day? The JD Vance, was this the summit speech, correct?
Yep, JD Vance bringing down the house. The 190. It's the 197th day of his age, the 45th prime number, and his wingman number's 45. Of course, Valentine's Day, the 45th day of the year.
Good point.
Yep. Daytona 500's night was on the 47th day of the year. Vance equals 45 as well.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that one.
Yep, Vance 45 and 27. So you got ritual numbers in there. You got the 90, the 18. So once again, there's all nines. Everything adds to 9 right there. If you write out JD Vance, it equals 59. So you get the 59 again.
Mm-hmm.
Just doesn't go away. Munich Security Conference, if you write that out, it's got the 123 like conspiracy, and 129, and 129 is 201 and base 8 counting. And then so you got some big numbers there. And in the focus, like I said, this year is Ukraine. Of course, the William, like I said, tonight, Nirvana, Ukraine, all exact 4 cipher match. And it will end on the 47th or it was the 47th or Volod or Zelensky is 47 years old too. So you have another 47 in
Oh,
there.
his name's 47 too.
Yeah.
If I spelled that right, I think it's 2 Y's. Let's double check here. Oh, is it not? I swear I saw it spelled with 2 Y's. Yeah, it is. Oh, it's Zelen. Did I spell that wrong? Oh, I did. My bad. Well, my wrong spelling was that, so there you go. I'm just kidding. That's weird. I saw it spelled this way too. They just can't get these things right. Whatever. When did the conference start?
I think it started on Valentine's. It might have started Valentine's Day. I think it ended today on the 47th year for the other 47. Like I said, Zelensky's 47 years old. Ukraine, William, Nirvana, all 47.
Yep. Let's see. Something I've been wondering about. Interesting that Ukraine's at the head of this conference when the trident equals 45. If you haven't noticed, that's like the Ukrainian symbol. This kicked off on Valentine's Day, the 45th day of the year. That's for Neptune. Does equal 95, interestingly enough. But let's do it. What's his Roman name? Poseidon. Poseidon equals 43 and 38, just like Zelensky.
Yep.
He's got that big trident on his chest at all times. So
There's
make of that.
19.
Yeah, make it that way. Yeah, the 119 as well. And 97 being the 25th prime.
Yep.
With this all happening, kicking off in 2025. So
yep.
Interesting. And let's see. Let's bring up JD Vance because what's his name? I remembered it at one point and then I forgot. James David. That's what it is. Just like, how biblical can you freaking get? James, of course, being 33, I've known that with LeBron and all the crap they do. James, funnily enough, is also 87. Like that whole Pope mess on Valentine's Day. So, James David equals 88. I won't focus too much on that. It's interesting. Well, there you go. His name equals 52. The Pope falling ill on Valentine's Day equaling 52. 133. Is that a prime? Can't remember. Wait, what? What did I click? This stupid site. I don't have any idea what I clicked. That's where I clicked the number. Hmm. 174th composite number. Nothing off the top of my head with that one, but yeah, 52 I think would be the standout. Guess you could also say his name is James Vance, 177, like the Jesuit order.
Big 60.
Oh yeah, there you go. 60th election. Obviously, he was elected in the 68th election as well. Well, pretty much selected in more ways than one, but there was something else with is it Munich, Germany? Or was it just Germany? Oh yeah, Germany has the 38. And I think the 34 like Zelensky too. I already forgot. Terrible memory, I guess.
Yep, Ukraine, William, Nirvana, all 34 too.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah. And his whole speech was basically, I mean, they're just doing this thing where they present this like united for. I mean, just look at what they're doing. It's such a people will like look at this as if it's like some all-star cast that's Trump's cabinet picks because they've been so politicized. And the reason they were so politicized is because they were going to be Trump's cabinet picks. That's what people need to realize. The reason you know about what's her face? Tulsi Gabbard. Is that what her name is? I think Tulsi Gabbard, right? Yeah. The reason we know about her is because she's been so politicized. She's just been in every, she's 43, interestingly enough. There's just been so much going on about her. And then obviously no need to talk about Elon Musk, but then even the hiring and firing before his term even started of Vivek Ramaswamy. They just use these like revolving cast members to do this. I mean, you look at we haven't heard the last of the head of ICE. He's going to be big, or national security or whatever at the border. He's going to be, you're going to see him in the headlines a lot more than his just rough around the edges little talk he gave about how they're going to go into people's houses, and even if the odds are if they find one, they're going to find adjacent immigrants, and they can swoop them all up at once and get them out of here. Or I think he was cussing during saying it too. But they just got these characters right now that is like presenting this like A team. You know what I mean? This like ragtag group of like the RFK. I almost forgot to freaking mention. Holy crap! And so it presents you with like this entertainment factor. It really is like the Avengers. It's like the entertainment factor. What they're actually going to do and what they actually are is a bunch of talking head puppets, but people will accept them as more than that because they've seen them embroiled in all of this actual real politics, these real politics stories. These Tulsi Gabbard she's had to fight, god damn it. She's had to fight to get where she is. She's a fighter. She's gonna make a great head of national intelligence. Like, okay, sure. And then it's all, like I said, it's all a joke, but you have JD Vance going up there and just ruffling the feathers, supposedly, of all these European nations, basically calling them trash. It's like, who are you? You're like the youngest member, and obviously they're doing this to secure a legacy for him. This is how they do it. Y'all remember, just remember when JD Vance is, running for Inspector General of the American Pope. That's what it'll be. It'll be coming up. No more presidents. It'll be popes. There'll be no more popes in Rome, and and no more presidents in America, but popes in America and presidents in the Vatican. All the cardinals will be appointed to presidents instead. Anyway. This is how they secure these people. Just think of JFK, especially obviously hard not to with all the, not only do you have his nephew in office, but you also have the JFK files being released. They've made so much about the JFK. You have the assassination attempts beforehand, all these things, but then, what's JFK known for? Who quotes his policies? When someone talks about JFK, who starts getting into the nitty-gritty about his foreign policy? Absolutely no one. They quote his speeches. That's what he was known for. JD Vance is doing he's taking that exact, and the Teddy Roosevelt, right? He not only has the correlation with Teddy Roosevelt, but now he's the fiery speech giver. You know what I mean? Which he pisses me off because it looks like he has eyeshadow on. Pisses me off. Looks like he tried to clean off his eyeshadow with like some cheap wipes and didn't get it all.
Yeah, he might have been thinking about changing his gender too while he was at it.
I mean, look at that. His eyes are black. My G. Like, what? This is straight out of the Moloch ritual. Oh man. Oh, Marco Rubio, another one that's been on the, revolving door of politicians. And he's, he's such a look at this tough guy. Good luck getting past this guy.
Yeah.
This is someone in like a situation where there's survival of the fittest happening. You just literally he's gone. Just with one little quick shove, he is disintegrated. And he's the one that's making decisions for America. This is ridiculous.
Little loser 4 eyes there.
You know what I think is also funny too is JD Vance I think mentioned he didn't mention it, but he gave this speech about the climate of the potential war. He didn't really speak so much on the war. What he really talked about, what he really talked about was like how weak the European nations are, especially like Germany, which they're in Germany doing this. And so the left news agencies ran with it because basically to call Germany weak is almost like nowadays to call them weak is basically to say their strength was in the years before. And to say that their strength was before is basically saying that Nazi Germany was the strong Germany. You know what I mean? So they spun it in that way. And so, what I wanted to say about that is it's all mockery. People, you need to do your own research. Look into things further than just what you're told. This is not advocating the Nazi party, not in any way, shape, or form, but know what they were. Stop just only knowing what they were from a movie or what they told you in the textbook in school. Please look it up. Look up what they stood on. Look up. I'm not saying that they weren't contrived just like we are nowadays. They were. I'm not. This is all. That's what I'm trying to say. Good luck trying to convince somebody that Hitler was a contrived puppet party. They're so stuck on the Holocaust and all of these things that they need to be real. They need to have the people in power have been real so they can blame them and so that they can point at them and that they can pretend like they know things that they won't admit they don't know. But look at what, do you not understand that there was innocent German people, thousands, hundreds of thousands and millions of innocent German people that had to go through that regime? They didn't have a say in it. Their men and boys were conscripted. Their women were basically enslaved to the same. They did something similar to America, obviously, knowing about the draft and during those world wars, we got something similar, just nowhere near as harsh. You know why it wasn't as harsh? Because we didn't have Axis bombings all across our country, completely destroying our infrastructure and our way of life and our livelihood. Just imagine you have these weird mustache people yelling, but you're a normal German citizen. You're just raising little Greta and little Gertrude. You're just whatever their G names they like to use. Griswold. You're just raising your little gremlins. You don't want have anything to, you want to be a baker. You want to go to work at the mill. So they dehumanize all of Germany all in one foul swoop. It's like, who feels sorry for a German? Well, you should read Operation Gomorrah. You should read that. You should go look that up. You should go look at, not only Hamburg, but all these things that were done we talk about Gaza. We're talking about Gaza right now. Were there no children in Hamburg, Germany when it got fire tornadoed? For no reason after the war. After the war was done, they're just like, fuck it, dude. There's what there and what they say to bomb Hamburg. There's a weapons there. We have intel that there's a weapons holdout in there, so we got to bomb the whole town. Well, why do they bomb Gaza? Because there's Hamas. Hamas is there. They got intel that Hamas is there, so they bomb a bunch of innocent people. Well, I also like bringing up Operation Gomorrah because of you know, what's happened in Lahaina and now in California, these things are, they detail how in with older airplanes and older things like that, allies were able to make tornadoes. They made them with airplanes, not with a sophisticated weather device in the sky. They crop dusted aluminum silicates into the air, incendiaries and aluminum silicates, so that stuff sticks. It's really evil what they did. So, and then in like in bombing raids, they were able to create tornadoes. So think about that when you're having severe weather and you hear those jets flying overhead. You know, that might sound conspiratorial, but you guys people really need to look into historical happenings. And I'm not advocating for Germany or Germany's role in World War I or II. These are all things that we as a people need to get the hell over. Slavery, we need to get over it. I don't care if your uncle's grandma was one. I don't care. And I don't care. I'm a white guy who doesn't care. Oh my gosh, I'm racist. We're not getting anywhere. We're going literally backwards as a whole. Why do we keep doing this? How can we allow our the legacy of human legacy of real people to keep falling into these traps? The real people that are still just marching to Starbucks every day with their BLM sticker on their Kia Sorento, they all need to wake up. I don't know how else to wake them up. And I mean, obviously Pound and Pavement, which we're going to get into, but I mean, my thoughts, and I think your thoughts as well, I don't think these are going to mesh well with the bots walking up and down the street. I think we're going to have real issues that we're going to get into. I think we're going to be a very controversial channel moving forward, if we're even allowed to be a channel, because the reality of things needs to be said. And it needs to be said to real people. I'm not just this platform where it can be controlled by the powers that be, but on the street with real people. They need to hear it and they need to be jarred. I don't care if they want to fight me. I don't care if they get mad. I don't care if they think I'm racist or any of these things. I'm none of those things. And I know I'm none of those things. And I know they're none of those things too. They're being tricked. And I want them to see it, own up to it, and let's go. Let's move together. Because without all walks of life moving together in a more unified fashion, we're never going to overthrow these systems. It takes a lot more manpower. It takes a lot more of a threat, is what I'll say, to the people who own us. It's like all these people, you know, the Black community, I'll say it since that's what they call themselves in the media. I'm not saying everybody. I know, I'm sure a lot of people hate that term, who are forced subscribed to that term. But, you know, you want to harp on about slavery, at least open your eyes and realize that we still are. At least open your eyes and realize that you're still a slave. Fight for yourself. Stop fighting for 3 generations ago, and let's start fighting for us right now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just,
Fucking clown.
you know, you brought up so many perfect and great points, and I feel the same exact way when it comes to all of it as well. I mean, it's all these people stuck in the past and, you know, using shame and guilt and blame for things that they had no part of, you know, things that happened hundreds of years ago and they weren't even here, and they want to take credit for it. It's just to me, what it's really all about too is these other 2 stories too that I was talking about, because this is where I guess I really should have seen. This is where I guess I really got kicked in the nuts, but really kicked in the right nut and kicked in the left nut for literally both nuts. I mean, you had the other 2 stories that everyone should see how all of this is contrived as one. you had the Eagles guitarist this week with the medical scare, and then of course you had the NASA thing as well. But with both of these stories going along with William Byron tonight, look at the name of Don Felder. It's and then all these, you have all these people. You have Mahomes, losing a dad, grandfather, and then you have Pope Francis being hospitalized. And then Eagles guitarist Dan Felder suffers medical scare 4 days after Eagles win Super Bowl 59. And look at his name, Donald, so like Donald Trump, William, for another William, in Felder. And if you put it all together, you get the 179, 89, 334, 109. And of course, Don Felder equals 83, 47, 160, 43. So big time numbers. And he was born, of course, September 21st, 1947, age 77. So you get all these 47s. And look at September 21st, leaves 101 days left in the year. Philadelphia equals 101, 65 too for Kurt Donald Cobain. There's a 65 for Kurt Donald Cobain, that site for every single episode we find that. I mean, it's perfect too. I mean, look at football. I mean, you get the 83, the 43 as well. So the 29, the 133. It's like Don Felder. So again, these stories, you get Trump, 88, 25, 47, 29. And look at three-peat. Three-peat equals 44, 46. When's the story come on? It comes on the 44th day of the year. Scare 4 days after the Eagles in the Super Bowl. So 4 days for the number of death, the kill number on the 44th day of the year. And then, of course,
Eagles equals 44 too.
Yep. And it was 145 days after his birthday, or 146th day of his age. Too as well. And you have his first song was Good Day in Hell with the Eagles. And Good Day in Hell's got the 131, the 68, the 220, and the 58. Again, Super Bowl's got the 131, the 41, the 112, the 49. Is his first stint with the Eagles too was on their fourth album. So I figured this incident, came 4 days after the Super Bowl win. 4 days on the 44th day of the year. His first stint with them was on the fourth album. I mean, the Eagles and all the Williams. I mean, they really had this week. And then, like I said, with the NASA star, you had Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore. So Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore. And then you have Donald William Felder. And then you have William Byron winning it. So, I mean, yeah, they just slashed this week with a machete right down the middle.
Yeah, to your point as well. You see this, they have two Dons in the band, or a former Don in the band and a Don in the band. Obviously, their names are Donald and everything, but you have this speech happening in Munich, Germany, and then you have them sounding off about how it's like praising the Nazi regime. And Werner von Braun, who wrote the book Project Mars, who came over from Nazi Germany for Operation Paperclip through JFK. Yeah, keep the thread going with me, guys. All things we're talking about. Of course, he wrote that book with Elon as the main character. Well, his what was it? There's that book, and then at the same time you have that author writing that book, and that kind of projects Elon's life and career. You have another book where it talks about the last president, or the adventures of Baron von Trump or something like that. Book Baron. Travels and Adventures of Little Baron Trump and his whatever. I don't know if that's was the first one. Anyway, the book, his like spiritual guidance person in this book is named Don as well. I know it seems like a stretch, but it's just interesting because, like you said, it bleeds into this astronaut story, and the astronaut story has to do with Trump and Elon like blowing it out of proportion, whereas Boeing is saying it's completely handled. And even the astronauts are like, "Oh no, we're fine." They're kind of like exemplifying that meme of the dog sitting in the bar on fire, and he's just like, "It's fine, I'm fine." The astronauts are like, "We don't want Donald Trump and Elon Musk's help. That's the last thing we'd want. We knew that there was going to be problems. It's okay. We're testing it." And it's just another L for Boeing, which I think leads into what we talk about a lot about how they're ushering new infrastructure and new things in by, ritual shaming of these huge conglomerate companies, they're going nowhere. Boeing's going nowhere. You're not getting on a plane tomorrow that's not a Boeing. So, but yeah, my point being is like Donald Trump and Elon Musk, you have the combination. They both, before they even got in the office, were talking about going to Mars and making that a priority. And so you have Elon from Project Mars, the book. You have Barron Trump, Donald Trump's son, being the main character of this other old book, and Don being the counselor, the guidance of Barron in those books. So I just wanted to bring that up with the appearance of the name Don rather than like fully Donald. I think that it could be paying homage to the Don from that book, because in that book, the guy's just named Don. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing how all these stories this week are literally the same thing. Just the same thing, the same numbers, same days, everything just being so connected. And like I said, too, on the same day, Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore, and there's 44s all over this as well. Both these stories on the 44th day of the year. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's interesting too. Butch Wilmore equals 59. I think we just had Super Bowl 59. It's got that 67 in there. Cobain born in 67. Sonny Williams got the 53, the 82. But you look at the first name there, Butch, you got a 54, 18, 81, 27. So you got ritual numbers all over it.
Did you mention that her name is Williams? Just for another William?
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Williams. Yep. I said that. Yeah. Sonny Williams. And then Butch Wilmore.
Mm-hmm.
So Williams, Wilmore, Don William Felder, Donald William Felder, William Byron. I mean, it's just absolutely unbelievable. Yeah. Butch, like I said, it's got the 54, the 18, the 81, 27. Wilmore's got the 95, the 94. It's like Marlin won the Daytona 500, 94, 95. And he drove the 40. So you got the 40 in there, the 41. And look at Sonny. I mean, Sonny, it's got the ritual numbers too. It's got the 45, the 27, the 18, 63. Again, everything adds to 9 right there.
I mean, what are the odds that the two people's first names are two cipher matches? It's just.
And look at Williams. Williams got the 35 and the 55, like Satan. So it's right there in your face. Just like the Eagles scored 55, and I mean, look at all the 44s in this. It's just outrageous. I mean, Space 44, 17 as well. Armstrong 44 and 55. Cancer equals 44. It's got the 26.
Oh, yeah, the moon landing was in Cancer, right?
Yep, Cancer 26. Cobain, God, COVID 26. This doesn't go away. Cobain also 44 and 26. So it's Cobain and Cancer. Both 44, 26. Very interesting. Then you got Boeing Starliner. If you write that out, it's got the 78, the 93. Boeing Starliner's got the 79. Like William Nirvana Ukraine, the 79. It's got the 101. Boeing, of course, 52.
Society of Jesus.
Yep.
Wait, 79, right? Yep. 187.79, like Society of Jesus.
And look at like Boeing. I mean, it's got the 52, the 34, the 110, the 29. So you got the 34, the 110, like William, Nirvana, Ukraine, 29 in there. Pope 52, 29. So it all lines up there. You get all the Pope numbers, all the other numbers.
Boeing's just another one. Oh my goodness, our list is pretty gnarly, dude.
I'm telling you, we're just crushing it tonight. We're on another level of. And look at Starliner. Starliners equals 45, 72, 135, 135. Once again, everything right there adds to 9 and all the ciphers.
Starliner by itself equals 44, and another
Yep.
44.
Yep. Outer Space 44 as well. Outer Space 44 starts. Starliner 44. Cancer 44. Armstrong 44. Space 44.
I spelled something wrong. Anyway, this is the International Space Station. That looks like a prime to me. It ain't. Oh, that's not a prime, dummy. 14th triangular. ISS equals 47 and 11 like 110 and 34.
Yep. And 25, like it's 2025.
And it's just like, oh man. It's just like guys, this is, I'm not going to talk in like tiptoe around stuff. They're in a set on Earth. Guys, they're in a set on Earth. They're not in space doing this, bro. There's no fucking way.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Starliner 44, 64. Outer Space 44, 64. I mean,
Did I just spell outer space wrong?
it's got 2 T's. But I think it has 2 T's.
I don't think so.
Maybe my spelling might be wrong.
Yeah, it's just the one. But with that, it does have the conspiracy. Which, what bigger conspiracy is there? It's, oh, dude, 3 cipher match with conspiracy. So, no, I mean, okay. It's just a joke. I was going to say Moon's 51, Conspiracy's 51, 57 too. So it's just like right then and there. I mean, we're not even talking about the moon landing or that, but it's revolving around NASA and the space station. And I guess we can look up what SpaceX, what's throwing that X in there do for us. 68, we hit on a 68 to do something, but let's see, what was it? Was it Donald J. Yeah, Donald J. Trump is 68. Like SpaceX, who, you know, he's basically the check signer for space. Well, he's not really, but you know what I mean? He's the one that kind of is propelling SpaceX to the forefront of innovation and all these things. Obviously, he's going to give the contract to Elon before anybody else. And guys, get ready for the falling out too. There will be fallout. There's no way this soap opera is just going to go off into the sunset, a beautiful story. You're going to have Elon fallout. You're going to have already they're doing it with, like, you see the traces of it right now with Mitch McConnell. How he's like, he didn't vote for Tulsi Gabbard or RFK apparently. So they present, oh, look at the chink in the armor of the Republicans. Ooh, we can get to Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is an absolute, he's just a toad man. Oh, and then we haven't even talked about like another, it doesn't stop. You know, Pete Hegseth, the cabinet member, Pete Hegseth, that he got sworn in recently. I think it was just before RFK. How he has that like massive tattoo on his chest, and they were calling him, it's saying it was like a Axis Nazi or Nazi sympathizing tattoo or whatever. Have you seen that?
I'm not sure if I've even seen that.
They've just been going so hard on this stuff. Let's see. I mean, look how fake an AI that looks. Jesus Christ. Look at that second one, tattoos. So, yeah. Which I also want to point.
I did hear about this. Yeah.
I want to point out, look how new they all look.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that's a new tattoo. So,
week ago.
Yeah. Also, you want to talk about quotes of the Declaration of Independence, we the people. If you take that as a sentence, never mind it being a part of a sentence, people tattoo it on themselves and they take it and they say we the people as a sentence. Isn't that extremely what's the word? Like tribal, you know what I mean? It's like if you were Jamaican, that's just makes sense. We the people. But you know, it sounds like a little bit retarded to just say we the people, but it's a statement, you know what I mean? And so you could see where people would get that idea is like, first of all, people shouldn't have these ideas. We the people. There's no way he's talking about everyone. Come on. There's no way these people, they don't want you to think he's talking about everyone. The people that they're dog whistling to don't think of it in terms of everyone as we the people. Maybe it was intended to mean that, which still I don't think it was intended that way either. Our forefathers were not the people we think they are, if they even existed, in my opinion. But yeah, regardless of this being a Nazi tattoo or not, it's the Templar cross is all over it. And of course you can say, oh, the Templar cross was another cross. It was the rose cross. It was before that, it was this cross, that cross, this and that cross. I could care less. It's the narrative that's being painted, and it's just another thing. And like I said, these look at his arm looks red. Looks like these tattoos are, I mean, wait, this is taken at a tattoo shop and it's a snake. And it's like the don't tread on me, right? Oh, but Donald Trump is reading a snake poem and the snake is the bad one in the Garden of Eden. Oh, and the snake represents in Gnosticism, Sophia. And I could go into that a little bit more too. But anyway, yeah, there's just, the join or die snake. Yeah, that's what we want our politicians. We want them tattooing their body with this stuff. This should be on everybody. And I could care less. I could care less about what you do. I don't care about his tattoos. I'm glad he has them. Good for him. I don't care. I'm not offended by anything about him. It's just, why do you know about them? Because they're showing you, because they want you to see them, because they want you to have an opinion, and their op-ed pieces are coming out, and they need to write about something, and they need to write, it needs to have to fit the narrative with Nazis and all these other things. So just on brand with what we're talking about, just another cabinet pick that draws into this Nazi, Mars, NASA, space bullshit that we have going on, that's masking the true intention of this regime, if you will, to further confuse and confound everybody into giving up whatever scraps we have left.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, that's like I said. I mean, and everything shows with all these stories tonight. I mean, like I said, all these stories are the same exact story. I mean, it's what do we have tonight? We this week we had all these people dying, health scares. The Pope is on his deathbed. The Don Felder's got medical scare. Mahomes loses his grandfather. You got like I said, the clown show, JD Vance. You got this astronaut story. Like I said, there's reasons why the Eagle, Don Felder, and you have this NASA story coming out of the same days. Reasons why you got Mahomes' father dying on Valentine's Day. Same thing with Pope Francis being hospitalized and JD Vance doing this. And this is all extremely high level ritual to show you where we are in all of this. I mean, this is, we showed it and put it together with the NASCAR race tonight, how this all tied in with all this throughout the week and what this all has come to be. I mean, all these things are massive correlations with one another. It's letting you know what time it is and kind of symbolizing too, that our days are numbered, so to speak, and how much time do we have. And especially like I said, with Pope Francis being the last pope according to prophecy and stuff. And so obviously they're symbolizing something huge coming or happening, and who knows how far away we are. But I feel like we're in the upcoming months of it, kind of. I feel like in the next couple months, by the time May is here and April's over with, like I said, I feel like we're going to be in a huge shift, just 2 months from now, where we're going to be. And yeah, it shows you too, things are picking up steam. I mean, things are happening. We have so many high level rituals taking place at once, and we're coming to a real interesting time. Like I said, I mean, March and April are key months, and we have so much left still this month, just a little bit left of it. But March and April are 2 months you can never sleep on. I mean, those are, spring, winter equinox, whenever it kind of decides to kind of kick it either way. I mean, I know we kind of had somewhat of a snow or kind of snowstorm here just like a few days ago this week. I think it was Thursday or Wednesday. I can't remember what day it was, but it's kind of, I know there's kind of like some black ice and some rough patches around here, and it was kind of cold and icy and kind of shitty too. So I mean, it's hard to say. Is it? Are we? Like I said, is winter over? Is it not over? What are they doing? I mean, are we going to get more blast? Is it? What's really going to happen here? So we're kind of on this teeter totter point from here going forwards. As to what really happens, it's hard to say. I mean, it's so many things can happen at this point. We're at a very interesting time, and like I said, all this just points to great change, and great changes are coming, and big things are getting ready to happen. I mean, it's like you said, we're getting ready to go through it either way. I mean, um, there's no way they're not going to do something major, massive this year. There's no way they're not going to do major, massive things the next 5 years. And um, either way, something has to give, and something's going to give sooner rather than later. And I also know, I mean, I know you had some stuff too on the floods tonight as well, the flooding out there. So we have weather anomalies this week as well to add to the mix. So it's kind of doing things under the radar. They're hitting on all levels.
Absolutely. And I think one thing we may have missed, I think we both might have known it, but we forgot to mention it, is that Lupercalia, the Roman festival, started on February 15th as well, which a lot of these, first of all, the floods started on February 15th, yesterday. And a lot of these stories, broke headlines on this day as well. But so regardless, these are like it says is, let's see, let's find the good one. Let's see what AI says. Lupercalia was a violent and sexually charged festival in ancient Rome that celebrated fertility and prosperity. Okay, so I guess rape and fertility, are combined in that sense. The festival began with animal sacrifice. The Luperci, a group of priests, whipped people with strips of animal hide. Wow, kinky. The festival also included random matchmaking and coupling. It forgets to mention that it was with animals, but I'm just kidding. I don't know. That's just anyway.
Reality.
Yeah, but so yeah, you have this Roman festival happening as well. I mean, you think of Saturnalia, and that's the sitting pope, and his birthday starts in Saturnalia. I can't remember what exactly it was, but you have this other Roman festival that's still celebrated, and you see these rituals popping off. Well, one thing that is interesting about it being promoting health and fertility, this being a fertility festival, what I talked about earlier, was the whole age of the Aquarius being, which is I believe a fertility symbol. It just also symbolizes, it's like, it's not necessarily a rebirth symbol, but it means like the end of an age, which automatically triggers a new one. So in that way, I think it has to do with rebirth. Either that or the beginning of an Aquarius is also is the like rebirth of it. Anyway, but you have Pisces, it's just very interesting that you have these astrological these seasons, if you will, attached to their Roman festivals. Obviously, they were doing astrological readings, and I mean, this is like what Copernicus and Aristotle and all these, Roman philosophers. They were very keen on the heavenly bodies, if you will, and on the bodies, I'm sure, of little boys and girls too. But you have these things that are celebrated all at the same time. All these things are popping off. Well, oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is you have this end of an age with Aquarius, which is the water symbol, and at the very end of that age, you have flooding take place. Heavy flooding, and I don't know if there's any other stories across the world or anything like that, but I know in the United States, it's centered around Kentucky. Let's just look it up. Kentucky, Tennessee, and West Virginia. Not only is it flooding, but they're getting hit with like insane winter storms too that are like flash freezing, they say. But Oh, now there's 9 weather. So they added one since I just talked to you. Yeah, death toll raises to 9. So what I noticed about these things is, that's what I was kind of getting at, is these festivals, who were they to honor? Was it to honor the average everyday citizen? No, these were, like it said, priests. The priests class were being honored. Well, this is the same thing, only our priests class are governors, mayors, and the president, obviously, and these rulers of the land, these lords of the land. So, you keep in mind, for any major disaster that happens, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's ritualistic numbers pointing towards said priests. In this instance, you have the Kentucky governor, Andy Beshear, right? He's 47 years old. Let me pull that up so I can just talk and go. You have Andy Beshear, this retard. He's 47 years old. And you have the severe flooding kicking. I mean, it's been a 2-day process, and it started on the 15th, which, or I'm sorry, as of today, where they're reporting the death toll, and that's what I was going to say. The flooding started yesterday, but all these reports about, but their call for a state of emergency. That's what I was thinking. Happened earlier on the 47th day of the year. So you have Andy Beshear, who's 47 years old, 47 number of authority, Democrat, blah, blah, blah. Him, I'm sure there's more to it too. I just did a glance on this, on these stories. But apart from that, you have things like weather warfare, which, when you hear stories like this, from my perspective, I always am skeptical of the nature of which these things are happening, and I always lean towards manipulated. I shouldn't say always, but I definitely have a distrust to the natural order of things that are fed to me, at least. Anyway, like I said, the flooding started on February 15th. So 15/2, like 152, like weather warfare, like Louisville, Kentucky. They also have the 71. They share the 71 that it's the 20th prime. Not sure exactly where that fits, but I'm sure it fits somewhere. Just don't know that piece right this minute. Maybe it'll be 20 dead by the end of it. The flooding takes place with the Kentucky River backing up. Kentucky River 215, like February 15th, the day of the flooding started. You look at just the state, Kentucky equals 29, like flood, or flooded. Sorry, like flooded equals 29. And that's just Kentucky. One thing I'll do live is the Tennessee governor. I didn't look that one up. But then you have in West Virginia is also getting nailed. They're getting hit with hurricane force winds as well, along with flooding. And so you have the governor, Patrick Morrissey, which I'm always hesitant to when I see Moore in the name. It's like you had Will Moore of that space story, and now you have Morrissey. I think it's subtle dog whistling to the group of boat travelers, and predominantly, I think, darker skinned people referred to as the Moors, who I think we're in America, and they're conflated with the Phoenicians as well. Anyway, that's probably a story for another day. But yeah, you got Patrick Morrissey equaling 83 and 205, like Flood equals 83 and 25. If you take numerology into account with 205, that equals 25. And Patrick Morrissey is also 97, which is the 25th prime. So if you weren't satisfied with the 205 numerology, you have it with the prime number there, just like Flood. And similar to Andy Bashir having his day related to us as well, you have Patrick Morrissey, who's 57 years old, and since his last birthday, it's been 57 days. His birthday is on December 21st. From December 21st to today, where he is issuing the state of emergency, and that's what I was basing this off of. Is they're in the news for issuing a state of emergency. It's not like it's the start of the flooding. That was, like I said, the 15th, which has the numbers with weather warfare and stuff like that. But on top of that, the issue date of them being in the news for their respective states issuing a state of emergency, they have those line up with their ages and with Patrick his days after his birthday. So yeah. From his previous birthday, from his last birthday to today, 57 days later. And his birthday had 57 date numerology. So yeah, for the 57-year-old Patrick Morrissey, you see that take place. And what I was saying too is to real time look up the Tennessee governor, Billy.
Big Bill.
Yeah, big Bill.
Big Bill.
I'm sure he'll be signing. He'll be asking for some big bills.
Yeah. Your governor, Big Bill. I need some
There's
big
Bill
bills.
Lee with 57. Just like I mean, that more related to what's his face, but like I said, I haven't looked into the flooding in Tennessee, so I don't know like the rivers that are flooding. Although you got the 3447 story on the heels of all the other 3447s, Ukraine, William. So can't escape that number today. So good luck trying. But yeah, let's real time. Let's look up the Tennessee flooding. Where is it and what's going on? I did the other two states, but not this one. Flash flood warning. A levee broke, huh? Let's see, where's the one that doesn't? Okay, here we go. This one's Clarksville. It looks like Clarksville. Oh shit! Bridge broke. Your bridge broke. Oh no, it's just sideways. It looks broken. Let's see, Clarksville, Tennessee. Tell you what,
Bill Lee.
what's it? Billy.
Billy. Bill Lee. Billy. What a name.
Wait, good point. Let's see, you got 4374. Let's see. Let's pair it against the governor, huh? See what he's all about. What, do I have to like click on him? Okay. 65.
Pictures.
A little bit of a cross eye. Hey Billy, come here. Dave, coming.
Are you Bill Lee or Billy?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Billy or Bill Lee?
Whatever they ask me to be. Oh yeah, that's what I was. What's this? Is his full name? William Byron Lee? What the
What?
fuck?
Oh my God, I died.
Whew. Okay, well, that's why we do these things
Tonight
live.
we made history tonight. I don't even care
Dude,
anymore, guys. This is. I think this might be our best stream we ever did.
that's nasty. That is nasty work. That is disgusting. Oh, oops, I hit okay on that. Oh my word. William Byron, huh? I'm sure you got William Byron with a flood of emotion for winning the, the Daytona 500, and you got William Byron Lee with just a flood. I mean, how many Williams can we fit? That is impressive.
That's that's phenomenal. Absolutely outstanding.
So, who before today, show of hands, knew that Bill Lee's full name was William Byron Lee? I found out the day William Byron won the Daytona 500. How about you?
Yeah.
Wow. Absolutely ridiculous. He's born in 59. Just another for the books. Wow.
65, Flexion of 56, Kurt Donald Cobain, 65. Kurt Donald Cobain, 65. 65s every episode. I mean, it's yeah, we made history tonight. I mean, this is
Who
it's great.
knew? Who knew that us, just live working out the Daytona 500 would reveal so much? Oh my goodness.
I mean, how often do you find someone with the same name?
That, I mean, the governor of a city that's flooding the Daytona 500 winner will, I mean, talk about another clue. If you only were clued into that, like the fact that they list his name as Bill Lee, not even a single one of them saying William Byron Lee, the governor, is issuing anything. No, it's Bill Lee. That they do that on purpose. 100%. They cover his name up on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Tennesseans. So I don't know if they actually issued a state of emergency. Let's see. State of... I don't think he did. That's why I was saying I looked at the two governors other than him. Yeah, I looked at the two governors other than him. Wait, what did they have in Tennessee before? I'm not asking you, you weirdo. Tennessee needs a new governor. What are you talking about? You got a winner in William Byron.
Yeah. You're on a win streak in the 500, 2 in a row.
Apparently, something just not that long ago, they were asking for FEMA aid. Huh. So maybe he ran out of state of emergency cards. It's like, damn it, I used them all so quick.
Can you imagine if he changed his name after this? I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I might need to document his name here so that when he changes it to Billiam Wyron,
Or he just names it, just called himself Billy.
yeah,
B-I-L-F-Y.
Billy Byron. It's just like
Yeah.
Billy Willie. Just like,
Yeah.
Governor Billy Willie. Hold up. Oh man. What a night. What a night. Great work, buddy. This has been a lot of fun.
This was history tonight.
That's actually it's making my gut hurt a little bit. Maybe it's the laughing, but it's also just like the sickening part is just that they're able to get away with this crap day in, day out.
I feel like we just won the Daytona 500 tonight. That's how I feel. I don't even care.
Oh my goodness. To Auburn. How do those Tennesseans feel? You went to Auburn.
Franklin, Tennessee. I don't know. I think that might be where Sterling Marlin's from. I can't remember. He might be from Franklin, Tennessee.
That'd be the icing on the cake. Columbia. But
I knew it was
Tennessee,
Tennessee.
nonetheless.
I knew it was Tennessee.
He didn't go to school. He too dumb for school. He know
Yeah.
how to go fast. He go fast. He don't go to school. Don't miss the school.
I want back-to-back 500s, bro, in my 4 car.
Why would I stay in school when I go fast?
Got a Kodak to drive.
Want to see my Kodak moment? Check it out. I'll give you 2 of them. Man, I'm sure there's more to dig into here, especially, talk about a clue. Talk about a clue for the Daytona 500. It's so funny, too. Look at how they do it. You have 3 states battered with flooding. The one state that doesn't declare an emergency so that their governor isn't in the headlines is named William Byron. The day that he wins the Daytona 500. These people are clever with it. And I'm waiting. I'm about to scour. I'm about to scour. I'm not only going to leave comment on Zach's video if he covers any of the flooding, but we'll see if he catches it. But
yeah, hopefully he sees the video.
I want him to see it
tonight,
sees the video. But I don't think I can't imagine anyone else got this. Like I said, they hit it on purpose.
Oh yeah,
dude, this is stupid, and I'm smiling because of the feeling of like vindication. It's not like I'm happy about finding these things out as much as I'm just like I feel vindicated that these things we're proving our point. We're proving our point. We make pretty candid assertions, I would say, each episode. And when they come to fruition in such stunning fashion, it's nice to kind of laud on it a little bit and not just let it pass, because it's not often. It's not like I said, it's not like I feel good about this. It's just, yeah, it is what it is. It's something. It's hopefully you guys watching can appreciate this, because a lot of our episodes are up and down, not up and down, but they're so different episode to episode, I would say, which is, I think, a good thing. Even with our pacing and what we're talking about, how we're talking about things, the severity of what we're talking about. But this episode has pretty much been one of the heaviest on like real-time research, and we could do better. We like to riff still. We're not going to stop riffing. So a lot of this episode is definitely riffing about poignant topics and things like that. But when we actually dug in and did a little live research, just what we were able to uncover, and I hope that inspires everybody watching, that these things are not truly hidden. It just takes a little bit of really just remembering. It's just memory games at this point. Once you have the base knowledge of what this world truly is and what our leaders, so-called leaders, are really all about, you're not confused when these stories roll out, but you can see what they're for. You know what I mean? You have a city of people that are, facing house and home being swept away for a race in Florida, for a governor named Billy. That's what they're for. It's gross, it's disgusting, and we should all stop supporting it. That's the message. That's the actual message. I don't say that out loud. That should be a clear byproduct of waking up and actually realizing your place and responsibility towards your fellow man and yourself. These things should be natural consequences of becoming aware of your reality in a higher state. And this is not me putting myself above anybody either. I really don't like my sister's. I think sometimes thinks that I take that stance or I feel that way. I really don't. Like I've said multiple times, there is no reveling. I want everybody with me on that day. The day's coming, whether we want it or not. I want as many able people as possible. I want our chances to be good, our chances. There's no point in thinking selfishly in that matter, unless I'm talking about going and hiding in a hole. If I'm talking about going and hiding in a hole, then yeah, I'll be selfish and I'll hold myself in and I'll just take my family with me. But no, I'd rather have my family in a hole and I'll be out there with everybody else. And I hope that there's enough people to make an impact. And, you know, my family's just not getting a letter about what happened to me. You know, here's what we scraped off the ground and here's what he was wearing. Here's his Subaru hat and the pieces of his brain still inside of it. I hope you can have a funeral with that. Sorry, that got dark.
Yeah, I mean, we won the lottery tonight, man. I mean, we won it all. I mean, it's not even disputable. I mean, it's undisputed in every way. I mean, and yeah, I mean, these things are just. I mean, it's just phenomenal. It's outstanding. It's above and beyond. I mean, it's just William Byron. I mean, unbelievable. It's just perfection. And I mean, how many people? I mean, it's just like, yeah. If I'd have known this last night when I was going placing those bets, and I've seen all the
Right.
William week and stuff, and I'm thinking about all this stuff, all the Williams and everything. It's just like,
Bro,
you're looking at all this, and it's just.
I was thinking about that just now too. I was like, I looked this stuff up last night. Everything except for the Tennessee governor, because he didn't issue a state of emergency. I just said that. That's the reason why I never looked him up and I had to do it live. If I would have been able to tell you, hey, bro, there's a guy named William Byron who his town is flooding right now, I could have, dude, that's so
I know.
small. I'm sorry, dude. I was looking into it. I just missed it.
I don't know. Yeah, both of us last night were like looking at all these names, thinking all this stuff, and I just kept thinking William Byron, and him being a potential winner. He starts fifth. He won it last year. I'm just thinking about it, and it's like, and it's just. I mean, how many Williams did I need to see? How many times I need to see a William or Nirvana or Ukraine or an exact poor cipher match? I mean, it's just like how many times can you get punched in the face and keep taking it? I mean, I just got completely knocked out here. It just got shredded. I mean, it's just like William. It just, I've never seen it. It's just, I mean, just undeniable. I mean, it's unfathomable. I mean, I mean, I don't even got words. I mean, it's like, what else? I mean, how do you get bigger than this? How do you outdo this? I mean, it's like, where do we go from here? I mean,
Only up and further up. We'll go to the actual moon and we'll tell you what's actually there. But yeah, I think I agree with you. It's hard to top. And honestly, I think it's such a high note that, I might even have some video material. I'm time stamping this right now for sure. The last 15 minutes. Cause yeah, that's big. That's big. I think that's big for, our own psyches, and it's also big for just our, like I said, the vindication of our our efforts and work. So yeah, unless you have anything to add, this episode, maybe a potential lead in or a teaser for next week, something for people to look forward to, or maybe if you've been thinking about anything we could do an episode on, or just your final thoughts.
yeah, it's interesting. Next week will be the final episode for February already. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens this week. Of course, too, if anyone is involved in the flooding or in these areas, let us know and reach out and stuff, and tell us what's kind of going on. I remember you brought up some other point tonight too of something that we could talk about in an episode maybe next week or something. Maybe just talk about like the absolute rigging and politics of life or something, or just how everything is. There's politics and just everything, and how rigged everything really is, or something. Because it's just like, I don't know. I feel like this week's going to be real interesting because it's, like I said, it's our last show of February coming up, and then we go into March already. So
Bro, how are we almost 2 months in?
I know. It's like you said, it's just unbelievable. It's just scary. It's just like I don't know where the days and time go anymore. I don't. That's like I get up, it's time to go to bed. I can't even keep up with it. It's outrageous. The time is just absolutely flying. It's ridiculous. I mean, I can't. I have so many troubles like even knowing what the day it is and stuff. Just like it's just crazy. I mean, and like you said, when you document these things, knowing I mean, here, we're going to be going on episode 23, and then it'll be 24, 25. Yeah, so we're getting ready to. I mean, hell, it's almost already April. I mean, how crazy is that? I mean, it's almost already April in less than a month and a half. I mean, it's just unbelievable where life and time goes. Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, if anyone has anything to add or offer about these stories too, um, I'm sure everyone had to have learned something or got something out of this show. I mean, if you don't get something out of this, you don't get something out of nothing. So, and then too, yeah, I know, because you put my link for that Live Good or whatever too in the thing or
Mhm.
whatever for that little business side gig thing I'm trying to do, because I actually got um someone under me. Their name is like Juan Castel or something like that, and I don't know who it is. I've never heard of this person. I don't know what their name is, but um yeah, I got paid $25 on Thursday, so I think I get paid like 25 right now every Thursday for that. And if I get someone else, I rank up and I get to 50 too. So yeah, if anyone wants to get in on that too, that'd be huge, because I'm already making money. Even though it's small, it's still something. So that's what really counts and matters anyways. Um
Yeah, of
yeah, and
course, support the grind, and yeah, and I'll definitely leave that link in from here on out as long as you want it in there. And yeah, feel free to plug yourself whenever you want. This is your channel too, buddy.
yeah, because I know like this week too, like on Tuesday, I got like that meeting for that other like caretaking job too. So I don't know
Mm.
what some of that and how that's going to go. So I have to see what happens on Tuesday. Should be a pretty
Oh,
interesting day.
just be
Um,
yourself, and you won't
yeah,
need much. But
I don't know. Like,
eventually,
I think if this is kind of like more 5 questions, I don't think it's like finalizing anything yet. It might be, but there might be another meeting or something else I have to do or something. I mean, it probably won't be till like March or April where I kind of get the job or whatever. But that's kind of like what I'm. Or it could even be longer, but who knows? I mean, it's just taking step by step and seeing where things go right now. And um, yeah, I don't know if it was just like if I had questions on like the resume, or like if it's just like more guidance or whatever it is. But yeah, it should be a real interesting week with that coming up on Tuesday. And yeah, and I think like I said, I'm pretty sure for the Live Good, I'm pretty sure I get paid weekly for that. So
hmm,
pretty sure. I thought it was monthly, but I think it's weekly. Um, because that person signed up. Again, I don't know who they are, but I didn't get paid for the other week. But then it got cycled on this week. Um, so it took like an extra week for them to make, or an extra week to get the money after they signed up. So I guess after they're in there for a full week is when you get paid. So yeah, like I said, I only need one more person. I got someone at the gym too. I sent it to them that I was talking to, and that they might end up doing it too. Um, but that's like my other thing I was thinking, just to advertise at the gym. I think maybe just like throw my phone number up there, maybe a sign or a post, something, and just send that link or put that link out there and stuff, and um, see if people kind of gravitate towards it. because I figure there's going to be people here and there that will want to do it or get in on it, and I know there's different ways to make money on it too. So I think there's like 7 different ways at least.
Yeah,
so.
let me know if there is that commission option, and we can talk about this off stream too. But because there's a potential that I would prefer to source it through you and help you out along the way as well. But I do want to get a regime or regimen going, if you will, on top of the vegetable protein stuff I have now. I want to do some other protein and maybe try to semi bulk up as well as doing cardio and other aerobic exercises. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, if you guys are interested and you want to hit him up, I'm sure that, following his I think it's somewhat of an affiliate link. It's like it takes you right to his website for this Live Good program he's doing. So, and then we also have our email scrolling. If you have any thoughts, questions, anything regarding the show, you can feel free to hit us up on the email as well, and you'll see that as well if you had questions about the Live Good as well. But yeah, without further anything else, I'd say we cap it on a high note and give Billy a send off. So with that being said, hope everyone has a good week, good rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next week for big number 23. Later.
Peace.